Welcome to Metropolitan Stadium in Bloomington, Minnesota for this afternoon's NFL battle between the Chicago Bears and the Minnesota Vikings. Hi, everybody. I'm Frank Lieber along with Johnny Morris. First place at stake today in the NFC Central Division. Interesting matchup between two interesting ball clubs, and I guess you can start at quarterback, really.
Yes, Bob Avellini of the Bears did a fantastic job last week, especially because it was the first game that he called himself since he was in high school. Jack Pardee, the Bear coach, decided that he needed more leadership on the field. Rather than sending in the plays, he was going to give Bob Avellini a chance to do it. He did a great job. He completed 11 of 17 passes for 3 touchdown passes. They upset the Rams 24-23. Big night for the Bears last Monday. They're trying to continue for today.
Okay, Francis Tarkenton, age 37. Every time he throws a pass, it's a new NFL record.
He is something else, a great field general, and he knows, Fran Tarkenton knows, that the Bears are 14th on pass defense and 14th on total defense in the NFC. So you can bet that he's going to come out and throw that ball today.
And, of course, you got two of the better running backs in the National Football League, maybe two of the best, as a matter of fact, plying their trade this afternoon. We're ready for the opening kickoff here at Metropolitan Stadium. And the Vikings almost break it. Manfred Ford, number 36. Receiving Bob Thomas kickoff. Here's the Vikings backfield as they line up. Brent McClanahan does the same thing for Minnesota as Roland Harper does for the Bears. The Viking receivers, all of them veterans. Sammy White, second-year man. He's the youngster in that group. And the offensive line, Wes Hamilton starting in place of Ed White, the veteran who was a holdout till the first week of the regular season. First and 10 for the Minnesota Vikings at the 30-yard line. As we get underway. That's Chuck Foreman in motion. The give is to McClanahan, who tries the left side. McClanahan out of Arizona State picks up a couple to the 32-yard line. It'll be second down 8. Here's the Bears defensive line. Jared Myers, who has beaten out Mike Hartenstein for that job in the last couple of weeks. The Bear linebackers who have remained intact all throughout training camp, and a couple of changes in that secondary with Doug Plank back from the injury. He's now in there, and Gary Fencing has beaten out Craig Clemens in the last couple of weeks. Second down 8, Vikings at their 32-yard line. Foreman crosses the 35 and out to the 38. It'll be third down 3. Here's a fine runner.
Yes, Foreman does the job up the middle. Jim Osborne almost slowed him up, but Foreman with the strong legs went on to get a few yards. He hasn't had the big average so far this year. He's only gained an average of 3 yards per carry, as opposed to Walter Payton, who's gained 6 yards per carry. But Foreman does a lot on catching the passes. He's a good man all over the field.
Officiating crew headed by Bob Frederick today. Third down and a long 2 needed for the first down. And they give to Foreman, and Foreman drives just across the 40-yard line. And looks like he has enough for the first down of the ball game. Osborne making the stop for the Bears. It looks close enough that we may need a measurement. And Frederick is going to call him the change.
Frank, I'm sure that the Vikings would like to get their offense untracked a little bit. They've only scored 52 points in 4 games, which really isn't a lot, but they've won their games. They've had good, strong defense, and Tarkenton has started to open up. In fact, he's thrown his last 65 passes. He has not had an interception after having 5 in the first game. So they've been a little slow to get untracked on offense, and they're hoping to break loose today against the Bears, who are 14th on pass defense. It's going to be a heck of a game. It's got to be close. They've had 5 points separating the two teams the last 3 times they've played.
Last year, of course, each team won once, and each decision was by 1 point. Sammy White in motion, the pitch to Foreman. 45 to the 46, lost the football, but I believe it had been whistled dead as Doug Buffone, number 55, made the hit for the Bears.
And there you see the value of Chuck Foreman, the quick move that he took to move up the field as they had a man in motion. Now, watch 44, Foreman cut inside the block and take the yardage. He saw the hole, went up, and got the gain out of it. And, of course, he fumbled, but it was after the whistle. The Vikings have had 13 fumbles in 4 games. That's a lot of fumbles.
They do play that great defense, though. They're third in the league in the least number of points yielded. So Minnesota's defense kind of keeps them in the ballgame. The offense seems to do just enough to win. Second down 5. McClanahan bouncing off one tackler at the line of scrimmage, got back to the line and maybe a yard, but certainly no more than that. Doug Buffone jamming the hole that time.
Yes, but it was Jim Osborne who got in there to jam up the play. He was in there like Wally Chambers is when he's healthy. Osborne charged across the line of scrimmage, busted up the whole mechanics of the play, and then the rest of the Bears got in there to mop up. The Bears, as I said, are last on total defense, but they've come up with some big plays. They had 4 interceptions last week, despite giving up 415 yards, and they could have had 6 or 7 interceptions.
Third down 5, Minnesota at its own 45. Early moments of the ball game, no score. Tarkenton. First pass of the afternoon. He drops it off to Foreman. Foreman is at the 50. He's got the first down into the 45. And that, of course, is one of the favorite ploys of Francis Tarkenton. He probably drops it off to the backs as much as anybody in the game.
He certainly does. He never leaves them in to pass block. He sends them out, and Foreman, of course, catches a lot of passes every year. And you get him the ball, it's like an end run here. Now watch, they have him, and he'll dip inside of Wayman Bryant, number 50, and get the extra yards that he needs for the first down. It's just like getting that Foreman out on the end on an end run. He's in the same position.
Officials mark it at the Bear 46, second first down for the Vikings in this drive. Tarkenton, like what he did the last time, goes to the air again, and this time he's got Sammy White for a first down at the 20-yard line. Sammy White cutting inside the 2 defensive backs, number 48, Allen Ellis, and number 46, Doug Plank.
And boy, Ahmad Rashad on the other side was wide open, too. Boy, they may come back to him, but you can see Stu Voigt turning in, and then you see Sammy White coming across. He brings him into the inside, and no chance for the coverage. Good play by the Vikings. A nice drive down to the 20-yard line already.
27-yard pickup. Tarkenton 2 for 2 in the passing department. This Viking drive started with the opening kickoff. They haven't given up the ball yet. They have 3 first downs. Now to the Bear 20-yard line. Foreman to the 18. It'll be second down 8 as he's jammed up by the middle of the Bears defensive line. Francis Tarkenton, no stranger to the Bears. This is his 26th NFL start against Chicago, going back to 1961, and of course that very first game.
I know, I played in that one. I remember. Yes, new expansion team in '61. They beat us, I think, 37-13. A great victory for the Vikings. Norm Van Brocklin was the coach at that time.
Second down 8. Fights at the Bear 18-yard line. Tarkenton rolls left, looks right over the middle. Foreman, the intended receiver, took his eyes off it momentarily. The phone on pass coverage. This telecast is presented by authority of the National Football League. It's intended for the private use of our audience, and any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Minnesota Vikings and the National Football League is prohibited. Third down 8. Vikings from the Bear 18.
There's been a lot of talk about the condition of the field. As you know, Frank, last week it was really muddy and kind of a quagmire, kind of ruined the game in a way. But they fixed it up a little bit. It's dried out. There's a lot of green paint. Looks a lot better than it really is, but at least it's playable and not too slippery.
Bears digging in here, trying to hold the Vikings. Big play, third down 8. Rush on Tarkenton, he gets it away. And the pass is incomplete, intended in the far corner for Ahmad Rashad. Spivey was back there defending, number 47, who was in the game for the Bears. That sets a fourth down and brings on Freddie Cox,
who has played in, I believe, 200 consecutive games. They gave him a game ball last week. 200 games, that's a lot of games.
This will be a 36-yard field goal attempt. Krause to hold. Only 7 players in the history of the league have played in more than 200 straight games, and 3 of them are on the Vikings. Far enough. No good. Missed it left.
So there's a big play. The Vikings drove all the way downfield and wound up with zip. So it's still nothing ball game. Key drive.
So the Bears take over, and we'll be back in just a moment.
Introducing the Ford in your future. The new Ford Fairmont Wagon. A new wagon designed for today and the years ahead. The Fairmont wagon has excellent mileage ratings, but while it is trim and lean outside, Fairmont has almost 90% of the passenger space of most large wagons, and with the seat down can swallow up all this cargo. Yet for all this, the new Fairmont wagon, as shown, is actually sticker price less than this little VW Rabbit. Test drive Fairmont, the newest, better idea from the Wagon Master.
I want you to be the first to know. I joined the Army, so I guess it means goodbye. Chris? I joined the Army, so I guess this means goodbye. Susie, I've joined the Army, so I guess it's goodbye. I joined the Army, so I guess it's goodbye. I'm leaving for the Army next week.
When did you join?
Last July.
With the Army's delayed entry program, if you qualify, you can enlist now and take up to 12 months to say goodbye. Contact your local Army representative.
Vikings moved the ball 52 yards in 10 plays before Cox missed that field goal. Bears have it on offense for the first time at their 20-yard line. Avellini. Straight handoff over the right side to Roland Harper. And Harper carries it out to near the 25-yard line. Let's set the Bears offensively for you. None of them strangers, certainly, to Chicago fans. Bo Rather, James Scott, and Greg Latta, the Chicago receivers, and the Bears offensive line. Ted Albrecht, their #1 draft choice, who was moved into the starting lineup as of a couple of weeks ago. Second down, 5. Here's Payton. Put his nose down and picked up a couple of tough yards to the 27-yard line. It'll be 3rd and 3 as Fred McNeil made the stop for Minnesota.
Walter Payton is already 6th on the all-time Bear rushing list, and he's only in his 3rd year. He's got 462 yards so far this season, leading the entire NFL. He is something else. Of course, he had a big game last year here against the Vikings, but the Vikings won in 2019. Then the Bears won 14-13 down in Chicago.
Bears with a 3rd down, 3 at their 27-yard line. Avellini. Protection is good, and he's got the first down as he hits Latta at the 33-yard line. And Latta is corralled by Bobby Bryant, #20. Here's the Vikings defense. Long in tooth, but very effective nevertheless. Jim Marshall is now 39 years old, if you can believe that. Got a good set of linebackers. Not much age there, certainly, and a good set of veteran defensive backs. Paul Krause is 35, and he's on the verge of setting an NFL interception record that's been held by Emlyn Tunnell for these many years. 1st and 10. Bears first down of the ball game at their 33. Fumble. Loose football. Who's got it? Minnesota recovers at the 30-yard line as Avellini never came out of it cleanly. Jeff Seaman, #50, recovers the fumble. Now, that's one thing you don't want to do against these teams, because if the Vikings are one thing, they are opportunistic.
They always have been and always will be. Any team coached by Bed Grant will be that way, and I don't think Avellini ever really got the handle on it. As you look at the Bear backfield, and then he tried to hand up. Walter Payton reached down, and it's got away, and, of course, Seaman aggressively recovered.
Tarkenton trying to take advantage of the mistake. Fires over the middle. McClanahan, 25, down to the 23. Pickup of 8 on the play. It'll be 2nd down, 2. Gary Fensick, #45, moving up from the secondary to make the stop.
And Tarkenton didn't waste any time in going to the air right after the recovery. Just a fake out to the flat and threw it right over the middle of the field. McClanahan was there with the grab. And the Vikings are in great shape on the 22-yard line. 2nd down and 3.
2nd down. Let's call it 3 needed for the first down. Ball is at the 23-yard line. Chicago still no score. McClanahan to the neighborhood of the 20 before he was shoved back. Fensick again in on the stop, along with number 76, Ron Rydalch. Chambers is expected to play, by the way, is he not, Johnny?
Yes, he is, but he probably won't play that much. He played more than people expected Monday night against the Rams, but his knee is not well. It's not 100%, and they'll play him some for inspirational value, and he also causes a lot of commotion among the offensive line. But I wouldn't imagine we'll see him more than a half a game at the most.
3rd down and a yard needed for the first down. Vikings at the Bear 21. Foreman almost broke it for the touchdown as he got down to the 12-yard line. First down. Minnesota. Allen Ellis made the stop and saved the TD.
And that's why Chuck Foreman is great here. He hits the hole and continues to power on. As watch Ellis, 44, comes up, and he figures he's stopped. And then really didn't go through on his tackle, and Foreman got through and almost broke for the touchdown.
They get 2 great backs working against each other. I imagine there's a little something special for them.
Yes, he's been hearing all about Walter Payton all week, and I'm sure he'd like to have a better game than Walter.
1st and 10. Vikings at the Bear 12. Foreman to the 5, to the 3, to the 2-yard line. Close to a first down. Let's see if it's enough for the first down. Very close. Wayman Bryant made the stop.
And it's a simple case of the Vikings are just out muscling Chicago in the middle of that line. They're opening big holes, and Foreman is hitting them perfectly. His timing is he went up and over that time, and finally Wayman Bryant gets in on the tackle, and a host of Bears, Fensick and Rydalch. But the Vikings are just moving the Bears on defense right now. Good blocking.
They'll measure here to see if the Vikings picked up the first down. This drive started at the 30 after the fumble recovery by Jeff Seaman. We're still in the first period with just under 6 minutes to go. It is a Minnesota first down. First and goal to go from the 2-yard line.
This is what Minnesota did last week and in several other games. They scored early in the first quarter. Oh, thank you very much. Last week they got 2 quick touchdowns on Detroit and made it stand up. Now they're moving 2 quick drives, the fumble, and another drive, and they're in good shape to go ahead here.
Might be Mark Keller, a running back, in there with Foreman, but they give the Foreman nevertheless, and Foreman has 6 more. Made it look easy.
Okay, I mentioned the good blocking, but this was mostly good running because there were a couple of men on the tackles there. You could see Fensick trying to make the tackle, gets double teamed, and Foreman just dips out and goes into the end zone. That's what you call easy pickings on that one.
30-yard drive, and it took him just 5 plays. And as I recall, Foreman was in on every one of those plays. Rouse to hold. Cox with the extra point. A flag is down. The kick is good. There was a penalty marker down. So let's wait and see. If it's against the Bears, obviously the Vikings will decline since they made the extra point. Bob Frederick, the referee, he'll give us the call.
Number 57 on the defense was offside, and the point is good.
Offside against Don Reeves of the Bears, but the point was good. So obviously Minnesota declines the penalty, and they have a 7-0 lead, 5:27 left to play in the opening period.
Charlie, hey, remember the old grip? Do I ever? When do you say Budweiser? Right now, right, ladies?
Right.
Whether you're coming home to your alma mater or just coming home after a day at work, any time that's right for a cold beer is perfect for the consistently smooth taste of the king of beers.
Well, Martha, thank goodness some things never change.
Here's to you, pal.
When you say Budweiser, you said it all.
Another big weekend of the CBS Sports Spectacular. We've got 3 great fights for you, 2 of them involving the Spinks brothers. Leon, the heavyweight, takes on Scott Ledoux, and then Michael Spinks goes against Gary Summerhays. That's a light heavyweight fight. And the third fight, Bernardo Machado takes on Greg Johnson. That's another heavyweight matchup. And in addition to that, you got part 4 of the world's strongest men competition. What are they going to do next week?
Well, I'll tell you what, they're going to carry 750 pounds in a wheelbarrow up a 9-degree angle hill in 30 yards, and they time them. Can you imagine just getting there?
All right, here's Cox. Art Best is deep for the Bears. The kick a little bit short. Best at the 10. 15, 20. Fumbles the ball. Minnesota recovers. Joe Blahak, number 21, picked up the fumble. And the Vikings again have excellent field position at the Bear 20.
Okay, Art Best, who's just been back on the kickoffs a couple of weeks here, carrying that ball rather loosely, and then he goes right into his 4 horsemen right there. Didn't look like a very good place to run to me, and then the ball was knocked away, and Blahak made the fumble recovery. The Vikings are in good shape on the 20.5-yard line.
It looked like he ran into his own man there.
He did. He ran right in. He's supposed to follow his block, and he really followed him.
Vikings leading 7-0. Foreman stopped at the line of scrimmage. No gain. Wrestled down. the Bears' Jim Osborne, number 68. Interesting thing on Foreman's statistics, he has not run that well this year. In fact, his average coming into this game is below 3 yards per carry. And his longest gain from scrimmage was that 10-yarder you saw just a moment ago. But they say part of the reason is he's been playing on bad fields.
Yes, they have played on some bad fields, and also part of the reason is they use him as a pass receiver quite a bit, out on the flat and running, and he is so valuable that way that you watch that average, it'll be up to 4 or 5 before too long.
2nd and 10 from the 20-yard line of Chicago. McClanahan inside the 15 to the 12-yard line. Riding Wally Chambers that time, number 60.
Jim Osborne got through here, but runs right by the ball carrier as Wes Hamilton took him out of the play, and then, of course, just the drive right up the center. They are really blocking. There's some muscle going on down there.
3rd down 8. Or correction, 3rd down 2 after the pickup of 8 at the 12-yard line. McClanahan up the middle. Penalty markers are thrown. Looks like he's got enough for the 1st down at the 10-yard line, but let's see what the flag's all about.
It's going to go against the Vikings, I think.
McClanahan has had a few moments. He's out of Arizona State. Had one 100-yard game last year, but mostly, of course, he operates in the shadow of Chuck Foreman. Here's the call from Bob Frederick, the referee.
Offensive holding, number 61, 3rd down.
Wes Hamilton, the 2nd-year guard from Tulsa. Flag down on the holding violation. Move it back to the 22-yard line. It's now 3rd and 12.
You know, Tarkington will go to the air undoubtedly this time. He has passed for over 24 miles in his career. 24 miles.
That's amazing. Translate that to yards. It is 42,000 yards.
299.
Now they give it to Foreman, who finds a gigantic hole and takes it right back to the 12-yard line, where they were before the penalty.
Well, that was a nice call. The Bears obviously thought that they were going to pass the ball, went with the draw, didn't quite get the 1st down. They'll probably take the 3 points and hope for the 10-0 lead, which is a good lead.
4th down, they still need a couple for the 1st down with the ball at the 13-yard line, and Fred Cox, who missed earlier from 36 yards away, comes on. Cox, starting the season, trailed Lou Groza by only 33 points. And Groza, number 2 in the all-time list. That's a 30-yard try, and it's good. So the Vikings mount their lead to 10-0 on the 30-yard field goal as they capitalize on the Chicago Bears' 2nd fumble of the opening period.
Ever wonder what happens to the money you keep in your checking and savings accounts? Let me show you. Some of it's here in town, put to work helping people change things for the better, like buying a new car or starting a new business. Your money's working, yet all the while, it's there when you need it, in a safe, convenient place.
America's Bankers, helping you change things for the better.
Save on one coat cover in half the time at Ward's. You're watching Ward's new Super Painter Patomatic in action. Sale priced at only $7.99. Super Painter covers almost any surface smoothly, evenly, and quickly. It's perfect for Ward's gallery of colors, interior flat or semi-gloss paint. Super sale priced, $4 off every gallon. Enjoy one coat cover, quick drying, and a scrubbable finish that really lasts. So save time and money at Montgomery Ward.
Having dinner with clients is part of your job.
The trick is to gain a client, not lose a reputation. On Our Own tonight, following Rhoda.
Stay here, Mr. Barnes.
Two mighty forces war over who shall rule the star world of the 24th century. That's tomorrow night on Logan's Run. You'll see it 8 o'clock, 7 Central and Mountain Time on CBS. Freddie Cox ready to kick off with 3:18 left to play in the opening period here at Metropolitan Stadium in Bloomington, Minnesota. Art Best is deep. This one coming down short. Brian Baschnagel fielded it at the 20. Stopped at the 23-yard line. Nate Allen makes the stop for Minnesota. And the Bears put it in play at the 24-yard line. Not much of a drive there by Minnesota, but when the other guys fumbled in, give you that great field position, you don't have to go too far.
This is very similar to last year's game up here when the Vikings completely controlled the first half and the Bears almost came back to win it in the second half. But the Bears are going to have to get on track. 2 fumbles in the first quarter cost them 10 points.
Vikings led at halftime of last year's game up here, 17-0. Payton. Look at him drive. Picks up 5 to the 30-yard line. Tough man to bring down. Leading rusher in the National Football League coming in this week, 6-yard average.
And he's already had 3 100-yard games, and you can bet he's going to break a couple before this game is over. He's done it every game so far this year. The Vikings with good pursuit. Finally, Carl Eller, he got around Eller, but Eller still got in on the play. Then so did Sutherland and a host of Vikings. They're so good at gang tackling.
Second down, let's call it 4 for the first down. Chicago Bears at their 30-yard line as Bob Avellini looks over the Viking defense. Quick pitch, Payton. They'll be close for the first down. Interference led over there on the far side by Dennis Lick, number 70. It was Jeff Seaman, number 50, the middle linebacker, who strung it out, pushed him out of bounds somewhere around the 35. Got some other scores for you we can pass along.
Yes, Frank, Houston has a surprising lead over Cleveland, 10-0. That game is in the first quarter. The Giants lead San Francisco 17-3 in the second quarter. And it's Buffalo 3, Atlanta 0. That game is also in the second quarter. And John Brockington went over 5,000 yards. He was picked up by the Kansas City Chiefs and hit the 5,000-yard mark for the Chiefs in this afternoon's game against Baltimore. Baltimore's winning that game 14-6.
Our score, Minnesota 10, Chicago 0. As the Vikings capitalize on 2 Bear fumbles, we've got 2 minutes and 22 seconds left to play in the opening period. And as you saw, the Bears did pick up the first down at their 34-yard line. Scott wide to the left side. Or rather in the slot. Inside of him is Avellini. Goes to Payton over the right side, and Payton gallops out to the 40-yard line. 6 on that play. It'll be second down 4. That's the Bears' second first down, and the Vikings 6.
You can see the replay. You see Roland Harper in front of Walter. He's the lead blocker, and they just hit the line. And watch Walter's legs keep moving here. He keeps them moving and always seems to go forward 2 or 3 yards after he's hit. And then many times he'll come out of that. But the key is just like Pistons. He keeps the legs moving all the time.
Second down 4, a short 4 for the Bears with the nose of the ball just beyond the 40-yard line in Chicago's end of the field. Harper stopped short of the first down at the 43. Matt Blair, number 59. Roland Harper had his best game ever last October against the Vikings at 93 yards and a touchdown.
They say that football players grow old and fade away. What happened to the Vikings? They don't grow old and fade away, do they?
Well, they've got guys on there, 39, 37, 35.
11 men with over 10 years service, where the Bears have just 1 man with over 10 years service.
Third down. Bears need 2 for the first down. Ball is at the Chicago 42. Straight ahead power. It is Harper trying to pick up the first. And again, it's going to be close. Let's see where they spot it.
He got it. He absorbed a pretty good shot from Seaman and Studwell were both in there. And he absorbed the shot, reacted off of it, and fell forward to get the first down by about 1 inch and 3 millimeters.
How do you know that? That's about what it was, as a matter of fact. He got just the corner of the ball. So the Bears get their second straight first down in this drive. Clock moving along with less than a minute to play. In the opening period, the Bears have a first down at their 44. Quick hitter that time. Harper again getting the call, crossing the 45 to the 46. Pickup of 2. It'll be second down and 8. As Alan Page, number 88, makes the stop.
Alan Page has lost about 15 pounds, and they're putting right on the center of on the nose of the center, which they haven't done too much in the past few years, that odd defense. And usually they have about a 270-pounder over the head of the center. But with the Vikings, it's Page, who's 228 or 230, and he's just been so quick that he's been able to do the job.
Their offense has done some kind of job allowing the opposition to sack Avellini just twice this year. As we see that, he gets pinned for only the third time. It was Fred McNeil, blitzing linebacker, number 54. Now, why would I throw that statistic in just at that point?
I'll tell you.
Well, that sets up a third down and long situation. Bears are back at their 36-yard line. Timeout. We'll be back in a moment.
Honey, is this homeowner's insurance high?
I don't know. Think it's too much?
How would I know?
Compare with Allstate.
Compare?
Bring in your policy and compare rates. If you have a good deal, we'll tell you. But for many, chances are we've got a better deal.
We've got a better deal.
Allstate might save you some money, but you'll never know until you bring in your policy and compare.
Oh, that's a good deal.
When you want to save on homeowners insurance, Allstate wants to help.
That's a promise from us. For good hands, people.
With the price of most things going up, the sticker price of Pinto, the best-selling American small car, is coming down. As of October 3rd, new 78 model Pintos with more standard features will have a lower sticker price than last year's model comparably equipped. Important features are now standard, like AM radio, power front disc brakes, rear window defroster, tinted glass, and protective body side moldings. Ford Pinto, more car for the money than last year. When America needs a better idea, Ford puts it on wheels.
There's the opposing head coaches, and by the way, during that sack of Avellini, time did run out at the end of the first period, so the teams have changed ends of the field, and we're about to get underway the second quarter. Bud Grant? I was talking to Gene Stallings, one of the Dallas assistants the other day, who, of course, played on the same college team with Jack Pardee. Told me some amazing stories about how Jack played six-man football in high school. He was twice as big as anybody else. Scored about 9 touchdowns every other game. Third down, 18. Avellini back to throw it, and he's going long. Intended for Latta and almost got it there at the 30-yard line. Paul Krause, number 22, the veteran safety of the Vikings, was back there with him. Fourth down, and so the sack proves to be a big factor here, as the Bears will be forced to punt.
And Bob Parsons would like to forget last year's game up here. The first half he had 2 or 3, I can't recall, punts that went off the side of his foot.
Parsons averaging just over 40 yards on the year. Manfred Moore fields it at the 28 and is hit in his tracks. Talk about a guy who fell into it. Manfred Moore last year played the first 13 games of Tampa Bay. And at that point, they traded him to Oakland. And he wound up with a Super Bowl ring and check. Can you imagine that? Time out of the field. Back in a moment.
It's no joke when a meeting runs late and you've got to catch a plane. And if Hertz, the superstar in rent-a-car, hadn't invented express check-in, you just might be waiting in line at some rent-a-car counter while your plane is taking off. It takes a superstar to come up with time-saving ideas like express check-in. Next trip, you might need it too. So rent a Ford or other fine car from Hertz.
A superstar in rent-a-car.
That's right.
The closer you shave, boy.
The closer you shave, boys.
The more you will need.
The more you will need.
Great balls of comfort.
Great balls of comfort.
To do it with ease.
Great balls of comfort.
Oh, just let Noxema.
Noxema.
Premium.
Great balls of comfort to you.
The closer you shave, the more you need soothing, medicated Noxema.
Great balls of comfort to you. Woo!
Should have bought Mobile One. The wireless saves you gas, you know.
Should have bought Mobile One. Helps you start at 35 below.
Should have bought Mobile One. Engine temperature heads 500. You're cool.
Should have bought Mobile One. You only change it every 15,000 miles.
Mobile One, the oil that does it all. Take it from an expert.
Frank Lieber along with Johnny Morris, Metropolitan Stadium. Bloomington, Minnesota Vikings, 1st and 10. Following the Bear punt from their 28, and Francis Tarkinen loads them up, going for Sammy White. Nice pass defense by the Chicago Bears. Alan Ellis, number 48, who is back there defending against the star second-year wide receiver. Tarkinen, in his 17th year, age 37, has thrown 313 touchdown passes in his NFL career, and for better than 42,000 yards. And of course, in addition to that, he holds another record. He's rushed more than any other quarterback in the history of the NFL. He has rushed for almost 3,700 yards. 2nd and 10. Again, Tarkinen comes out throwing, going long, and again it's for Sammy White. This time well overthrown. Ellis back there with him. Sammy's getting his work out.
Yes, he's getting these legs in shape. Actually, if the pass had been more towards the sideline, not so deep, he had some room over there. There was nobody else deep. Tarkington says that the combination of Rashad and White are the two best receivers he's ever had together on the team at the same time. So that's saying something, because they've had some great receivers.
I think we had a marker down. Preliminary indication was illegal motion against Minnesota.
Number 85 in the offense. Refused. 3rd down.
White was in motion. The Bears decline it since the pass was incomplete, which sets the Vikings up with a 3rd and 10 at their 28-yard line. Foreman's best afternoon of the year so far. Tarkinen, excellent protection. Penalty marker down. Again, he goes long. And again, the intended receiver was Sammy White. And again, the Bears play excellent pass defense. Well, we get a holding call here against Minnesota. The Bears, I imagine, will decline since it'll force the Vikings to punt.
Defensive holding, number 61, refused. 4th down.
Wes Hamilton, youngest member of the Minnesota offensive line, guilty of the holding penalty. Neil Claybo is the Viking punter, and Steve Schubert is deep for the Chicago Bears. Claybo standing back at his 14-yard line. He's been known to foul one or two off occasionally. Nice rush by the Bears. They almost got in there. Beautiful kick. Schubert back at the 20. 25, 30. Nice block. 35, 40. Penalty marker down. As Schubert gets it out to the 42-yard line. We had a marker thrown way back at about the 30-yard line.
He may call a clip on that one, boy, but it looked like a good block to me. Muckensturm throws the block, and apparently it was questionable because there was a penalty called.
We'll look at it again and see if we can pick up a possible clip here, because that's, I believe, what it's going to be. Yes, a clip against Chicago. So that will...
Muckensturm was blocking on McNeil, and it looked good from up here. We'll take a look and find out for sure whether it was. Well, it was real close there. We got a quick look at it.
Well, there's another one there. Do you see that? Just before he was hit, there was a second clip.
Two for the price of one, huh?
I think so. First one may have been a little questionable, but I don't believe the second one was.
On number 21 of the kick return team.
Well, the Bears don't have a 21. That's interesting. 52 yards on the punt by Claybo. 14 minutes, 18 seconds left to play in the first half, and the Vikings lead it 10-0.
Polaroid's One Step is the simplest camera in the world. You don't have to focus or anything.
I thought this was the simplest camera.
This is.
I just snap the shutter, and I've got the picture.
Where?
Well, I have to get it developed.
And I just press this button. A motor hands me the picture. I see it in minutes.
It's pretty. But mine's just as simple up to when the picture comes out.
What kind of logic is that?
Mine?
Doesn't make any sense.
You mean you don't understand it?
Get the One Step.
Your car will always need new parts, but you will never need to buy another battery. Once you own the J.C. Penney battery, it never needs water, ever. And it has more power to start your car than any other car battery. So dependable, it's fully warranted for as long as you own your car. If it ever fails, return it. We'll replace it, free. Only at J.C. Penney Auto Centers or catalog desks. It's the last battery your car will ever need.
The penalty against the Bears moves the ball back to the 11-yard line. So once again, Chicago saddled with poor field position. Avellini trying to get him out of the hole here. Vikings playing some super defense. It is Payton out to the 13-yard line. It'll be 2nd down 8 after a pickup of 2 yards on that play. Middle linebacker Jeff Seaman, number 50, making the stop.
The Bears are going at the Vikings' strength. They want to bust that line. The Vikings have only allowed 98 yards per game rushing, and that's what the Bears have been doing, mostly running the ball, trying to establish the run, which is a normal game plan, and see how long they stick with it.
Rather to the right side, Scott to the left. On 2nd down 8, Harper gets the call from Avellini, carries to the 15. What you've got going in this game is the best rushing defense in the NFC against the top runner in the NFC, which is another thing that makes it such an attractive matchup. So the Bears have it out to the 15-yard line. That sets up 3rd down and 5 needed for the 1st down. The Bears' deepest penetration so far has been their own 46-yard line. They haven't been in Minnesota territory yet. Rather again to the right side, Scott to the left. Avellini under pressure, got it away, and that will be good for a 1st down. Just in time. Matt Blair making the hit on Roland Harper.
Now you can watch Harper, 35, setting up the pass block, and then he goes out, and Avellini, just before he gets crunched, gets the ball off to Harper and gets the 1st down. Good play by the Bears. And remember that this is only the 2nd game since high school that Bob Avellini has been calling his own play. So he bears the brunt of what goes right and what goes wrong as far as the play call.
That last play was an excellent example of the double team tactics the Bears are using on Alan Page. They had him contained pretty well. But then, of course, you free somebody else. 1st and 10 from the 21. Quick throw this time, and I believe, let's see if it's ruled as a catch or a trap at the 23-yard line. It looked like a trap. James Scott was the receiver.
They are ruling that it was a trap. But James Scott is upset, number 89. And maybe we can decide the issue with a little picture here. Just a quick, precision, short pass, the hitch, and, well, it's still kind of hard to tell.
A little bit tough from that angle, but it looked from up here like it was a trap. Here it is again. I think you can see it pretty good. You should from this angle.
Well, that looks like he caught it.
That looked like he caught it, exactly. Yeah. Payton breaking into the secondary and out to the 30-yard line. He's within 1.5 yards of a 1st down. That quick hitter, and Payton just squirts through.
Let's take a look as he follows. Harper's got the good block on McNeil, and then Payton just takes it on through and falls forward for those extra few yards. So now they're in a key situation, 3rd and 2. Will they stay on the ground? Odds are they will.
Ball just shy of the 30-yard line. Bears trying to get a drive going here, and again they give it to Harper, and Harper stacked up behind the line of scrimmage. His 2nd effort possibly netted him the line of scrimmage, but that will set up 4th down and 2. And Jeff Seaman, number 50, again in on the stop, as the Vikings defense gets a nice round of applause from this capacity crowd of 48,000 plus. This game has been a sellout since August. We've got an excellent afternoon. Temperature at kickoff time, 54 degrees. A lot of sunshine, not a cloud in the sky. Minnesota weather gets such a bad rap normally that I guess it's only fair that we say something nice when it is nice.
Yes, it was nice, and everybody came with their campers outside.
Beautiful putt by Parsons. Manfred Moore at the 25, 30, and pinned at the 33-yard line. So the Vikings take over at their 33-yard line with 10 minutes and 52 seconds left to play in the 1st half, and Minnesota leading 10-0.
Take me away, lover. I'm yours. I don't go with married women. What are you doing in Granada? Granada? This is my Mercedes. Who tied tin cans to my Cadillac? Cadillac? Jack. That's the Granada.
Alone at last, beloved.
Beloved,
Where's my bride?
you got that Mercedes with another man.
Another man?
The new Ford Granada. One way to tell it from Cadillac or Mercedes is its sticker price. When America needs a better idea, Ford puts it on wheels.
Are you still chained to? Gotcha. The rechargeable Norelco rotary razor lets you walk away, free from nicks and cuts. Its 36 surgical steel rotary razor blades are safely protected inside 3 floating heads to give you a comfortable shave that's razor close, razor smooth, for up to 3 weeks on a single charge. The rechargeable Norelco rotary razor. It lets you walk away from gotcha.
In 7 years of All in the Family, you've never seen an hour-long story like this.
Lady, I'm going to tie you up.
1 hour of comedy and drama, Sunday at 9, 8 Central and Mountain.
First and 10 for the Vikings at their 33. Chuck Foreman, the ball carrier, out to the 36-yard line for a pickup of 3 for the Minnesota Vikings as we get back to play. There's a first period update for you on that Brown-Houston game. Browns are coming back.
Yes, they were down 10-0, now 14-10. Still in the first period. It's going to be a high-scoring game.
Our score, the Vikings 10, the Bears nothing. Vikings have a 2nd and 5 upcoming at their 38-yard line. Tarkinen drops it over the middle to Foreman. They'll be very close for a first down at the 44-yard line. Doug Flank, number 46, making the stop on Foreman.
Let's watch Foreman as Tarkinen rolls out. Foreman gets in from the wing over there and comes right across. And there he is, right in all the traffic, but still the lane was right there, and Tarkington spotted him. And Foreman, I think he must have got, 70 passes last year. He is so valuable. That's one place where the Bears have not done with Peyton so much. Peyton has not caught that many passes since he's been with the team, whereas Foreman has become more of a multiple type back who is valuable in that way. First down.
So the Vikings pick up the first down at their 44. Ed White has come into the offensive line. He's been a long-time starter, but he held out this year until the week of the opening game and has been trying to work his way back into the lineup. They've been using him about half the game here the last couple of weeks, and they say he's just about ready.
And Wes Hamilton is slightly injured, hurt himself in practice on Friday, so that also gave Ed White a little more of an opportunity to play this week.
Sammy White in motion. Tarkinen to Foreman. Foreman to the 50, to the 45, to the 43, a pickup of 12 yards. Raymond Bryant makes the stop.
Okay, you're going to see good block by McClanahan, number 33. Watch him at the top of your screen. He pushes Buffon out, and that allows Foreman to cut up the field, and finally Wayman Bryant, number 50, is able to make the tackle. But the Vikings continue to chew up the yardage, and the field must be in pretty good shape. I haven't seen anybody slip yet, have you?
Not at all. First and 10 for the Vikings at the Bear 43. Foreman now 11 carries for 62 yards, and he's caught 2 passes for 14 yards. And, of course, he scored the only touchdown of the ball game. Here's McClanahan. Not much up the middle as the Bears shove him back. Jim Osborne, number 68, leading the defensive charge.
And Don Reeves was in there, number 57, the middle linebacker. The Bears were in that even set that time with the middle linebacker right over the center off about a yard, and they just plugged that one right up.
8 minutes, 35 seconds left to play in the first half. Minnesota leading 10-0, capitalizing on 2 Bear fumbles in the opening period for the scores. Second down, 9. Vikings are at the Bear 42-yard line. The Bears haven't been in Viking territory yet. Tarkinen decides to go over the middle. Pretty good hit by Doug Buffon. Helped break that one up. The intended receiver was McClanahan, number 33. Tarkinen has had 4 consecutive 200-yard games against the Bears.
And we have received word that O.J. Simpson just passed the 10,000-yard mark in rushing in his career in today's game. Of course, he's with the Bills. The Bills are beating Atlanta 3-0.
I think he needed about 80 yards or so in that game to go over 10,000. That leaves just Jim Brown ahead of him. Jim's got retired with something like 12,000 yards. 3rd down, 9. Tarkin and deep drop this time. A bullet. Couldn't hold it. Oh, he really drilled that one. Doug Plank was back defending. The intended receiver was Bob Grimm, number 26, who had just come into the game. A little bit too hot to handle.
Yes, it's one of those that should have been caught. Grimm was with the Vikings and then, of course, came to the Bears and was released by the Bears and picked back up with the Vikings. A new lease on life, 11-year veteran. But he's going to have to catch those if he's going to stay around a while.
Steve Schubert is deep, anticipating the punt off the toe of Neil Claiborne, but got a 52-yarder away last time. Hangs this one up very nicely. It will go into the end zone on the fly.
Out of the end zone almost on the fly. Gee, he really boomed that one.
So the Bears will bring it out to the 20-yard line. It'll be 1st down, 10 yards to go with exactly 8 minutes left to play in the first half, and Chicago trailing by a score of 10-0.
This fresh egg is going to help us sell this brand new Freeflex shoe from Freeman. Watch. You can do it with any new Freeman Freeflex. Let's use the same egg.
Hello, everybody. Alaska. Tough on people, tough on oil filters. So we took Motorcraft oil filters to Alaska, testing them in 50 GM, Chrysler, and Ford cars and trucks. After 6 rugged months of Alaskan pipeline country, from winter's freeze to the hot, choking dust of summer, only one oil filter couldn't take the punishment. This is Lowell Thomas reminding you, no matter what you drive, wherever you drive, ask for Motorcraft oil filters from Ford. Tested tough in Alaska. So long.
Let's give you the lineup once again in that triple header on the CBS Sports Spectacular. Some great boxing upcoming. The Spinks brothers. Leon takes on Scott Ledoux in a heavyweight matchup from Las Vegas. Michael Spinks, his younger brother, goes against Gary Summerhays. Play a battle of light heavyweights. And then Bernardo Macedo takes on Greg Johnson, also in a heavyweight matchup. And that will also be followed by the World's Strongest Men competition, which I think you'll enjoy. Part 4, and the leader right now after 3 tests of strength, 330-pound Bruce Wilhelm, who won a silver medal in weightlifting in Montreal. That's the CBS Sports Spectacular next Saturday afternoon. 1st and 10, Bears at their 20. Peyton out to the 23-yard line. Carl Eller, number 81, making the stop.
All the way from the left side of the defensive line. He just went down the line, caught in from behind, and made the tackle.
You look at that front 4. Marshall is 39 years old. You've got
Eller's 35.
Right. The only guy in his 20s is Sunderland, who is 29 years old. Eller's 35. Page is 32. 2nd and 7. Big hole for Peyton. Look out. Across the 45 to near midfield, Bobby Bryant runs him out of bounds. Boy, did he accelerate once he hit the line of scrimmage.
Well, it was bound to happen. They've been running. They've only thrown 4 passes, and all the plays that they've run get a good block from Harper. Noah Jackson kicks McNeil out of the play, and then Walter turns it on and is finally knocked out of bounds by Bobby Bryant. But that's it. They keep punching. Eventually, a great back like Peyton is going to break one. So the Bears finally have some good field position at midfield.
Peyton 8 carries for 59 yards at this point. Ball is at midfield. Bears haven't crossed midfield yet. Peyton, well, they still haven't. Alan Page wrestles Peyton for a loss of 2 at the 48-yard line. Jim Marshall, number 70, also in on that play.
And that showed where pursuit really paid off. Now, Marshall apparently had him all bottled, but Peyton spun out of it, but there was Alan Page to make the tackle. Hadn't it been for Alan Page there, then Peyton may have gotten himself a few yards. There's Bob Avellini calling the plays. New experience for him.
2nd and 12. Bears at their 48-yard line. On the delay, Peyton to the 50, 45, and down to the 43-yard line. Absolutely marvelous to watch this young man run the football.
And he says he only wants to play for 5 or 6 years in the NFL. I bet you he changes his mind. You can see the draw play. They always have number 35 Harper going out in front of Walter Payton because he's such an effective blocker. I think the best blocker in the NFL is a running back.
That's a 9-yard pickup for Payton. It is now 3rd down and 3 for the Bears at the Viking 43-yard line. 6 minutes left to play first half. Bears haven't threatened yet. They lead, or rather trail 10-0. Again, Payton, this time trying the right side. And held at the line of scrimmage for no gain. Jeff Wright, number 23, moving up from the secondary to make the stop.
And Jeff Wright is a very key man for the Vikings. He comes up from his safety spot to make tackle after tackle. He's very valuable and a sure tackler, just like Carl Koselke used to be for the Vikings, was a tremendous tackler. And that's what Jeff Wright does for this team, and the Bears are going to punt from the 43.
Parsons standing back at his 43-yard line. The Vikings have 3 safety men down there. They've got 8 men at the line of scrimmage. So they're playing in return all the way. Very high kick by Parsons. And a fair catch signal on the 15. It takes a Minnesota bounce all the way back to the 38-yard line. You believe that?
That is unbelievable. That'll be a 5-yard punt. They only knew what was going to happen. They maybe would have gone for the first down. A 5-yard punt.
That ball landed inside the 20-yard line and then kicked back a good 20 yards. 5 yards on the punt by Parsons. And the Vikings take over at their 38-yard line. Payton's stats now, 11 carries for 66 yards. Sammy White in motion. Tarkenton obviously found his number 1 receiver covered, so he went to the backup man, who in this case was Robert Miller, number 35. Logan's Run upcoming tomorrow night on CBS. Remember to watch for it, the Intergalactic Adventure Series. It's a lot like Star Wars. I think you'll enjoy it. Monday nights at 8, 7 Central and Mountain Time, and tomorrow a mighty battle looms for control of the star worlds.
What's intergalactic mean? Galaxy? Is that from Galaxy?
I think that's got something to do with that, John. We don't usually use words that long on this show. 2nd down, 5. Foreman.
Oh, great move.
Foreman, and he's down inside the Bear 40-yard line. Well, you want to know what makes a great runner. You watch the move he makes here as he goes to his left, kind of stops on a dime and cuts back to his right. Unbelievable.
He had 3 Chicago Bears going the wrong way. Now watch Foreman's move as he cuts back to the right. Here he comes to the left. They think they've got him, and boom, he just cuts up. That's quickness. And finally, Wayman Bryant drags him down from behind. But Foreman is by far having his most outstanding game, at least from running from scrimmage. Excellent.
Pickup of 18 yards and a first down for the Vikings at the Bear 39. Robert Miller, number 35, who is McClanahan's understudy, and he moves into the 33. That run by Foreman was his longest of the year, that 18-yarder, and he has already picked up 81 yards rushing in the first half on just 12 carries. He's averaging right about, 7 yards a carry. Pickup of 7 yards by Miller at his 2nd down 3. Vikings are stacking up a lot of yardage.
They certainly would like to win this game because they could go up by 2 in their division.
Miller, second effort, may have got him the first down at the 28-yard line. That may be close enough for measurement.
The Vikings have a pretty tough schedule. Supposing the Bears won this, they would be tied, and then the Vikings would have to go on and play the Rams, Atlanta, St. Louis, and Cincinnati in that order, plus Oakland later on down the season. The Bears have the much better of it as far as schedule for the rest of the season and would like to end up in a tie after today's game, but the Vikings can kind of put them away a little bit. They would be 4-1. The Bears would be 2-3 if the Vikings go on to win this game.
Mike's got the first down at the Bear 28. Wally Chambers has come back into the ballgame for Chicago, replacing Osborne. Foreman trying the right side behind Miller's block. Run out of bounds at the 25. Pickup of 3. It'll be 2nd down, 7. Gary Fensick, number 45, running him out of bounds. Foreman having his best afternoon of the year so far. As we said, he had just 219 yards rushing in 4 games coming into this game for an average of 2.6 per carry. And he is close to a 100-yard rushing game here in the first half. He's just about at 85 yards. Second down, 7. Vikings at the Bear 25. Bears have been in Viking territory just once in the first half, and that wasn't a deep penetration at all. Here's Foreman picking his way up the middle. Chambers lassoing him at the 22-yard line. Pickup of 3 more in the play. It'll be 3rd down and 4. Take a look at Wally Chambers here.
Now he'll play off the block by Charles Goodrum.
Vikings leading Chicago 10-0. We'll be back in Minnesota in 1 minute.
But, Billy Joe, you are dressed for a Del Rio dog fight. You'd sure look better in Hager's slacks. Or a Hager sport coat and slacks. Even a Hager vested suit. A variety of outfits you don't have to be rich to afford. Oh, Billy Joe, you look like $1 million.
Make that 2.
Billy
Hager,
Joe.
because looking good makes you feel good.
Hey, Mom!
Oh, hiya, Sonny.
Stop sitting around, Mom. Let's take a ride in my new Ford pickup.
All right, let me drive. Oh, if I can handle it.
This is the one that's built tough with Ford's exclusive twin I-beam suspension and a new 4-speed overdrive option. And extensive rust-fighting materials on underbody parts.
What'd you think, Mom?
You may think I'm off my rocker. This Ford is tough.
Of all Ford trucks registered over the last 12 years, 93 out of 100 are still on the job.
Frank Lieber along with Johnny Morris. Bloomington, Minnesota, Metropolitan Stadium as we head back to play with 2 minutes left in the first half. The Vikings will have a 3rd down and 4 from the Bear 22-yard line. They lead 10-0. Keep in mind, in last year's game up here, the Vikings led at halftime 17-0, and the Bears almost pulled it out. Lost by 1 point, 20-19. Tarkenton throwing on 3rd down, 4, finds his receivers covered. Tried to get the pass away to Miller. Good pressure that time by Wally Chambers, and Chambers is hot. He thought that he grounded it.
He thought it was a grounding of the ball, but Miller was right there, so there was a receiver in the area. Great field by Tarkenton. He keeps those legs going. Oh, that's the secret to Tarkenton. And he throws the ball just as his knees were going to hit, but there was Miller right in the area, number 35. So, I don't know. I think he got rid of it in time, don't you? Even though he's on his way down?
Well, let's see here. I did a little research on that rule there in the last week. I might throw something in here. Krause puts it down. That's a 39-yard field goal attempt, and he's got it. Fred Cox is 2 out of 3. I did a little checking because Tarkenton has been known to do that. And the rule book states specifically it is up to the official, which is a tough call, to read, in effect, read the quarterback's mind as to whether or not he's grounded the ball. Whether or not a receiver is in the area doesn't matter anymore. That used to be the case. But in the last 2 or 3 years, they have changed the rule, and they say it doesn't matter if there's anybody around, but in the opinion of the official, is he trying to ground the ball or not?
The only thing, it did appear that Tarkenton knew where Miller was. Of course, he knows where all these people are, and threw the ball that way. So, but anyway, 3 points for the Vikings. It's 13-0.
CBS Sports Spectacular next Saturday afternoon at 4:30. Triple-header boxing from Las Vegas. Leon Spinks and Scott Ledoux in a battle of heavyweights, and then Leon's little brother Michael takes on Gary Summerhays and Bernardo Macedo against Greg Johnson. That's another heavyweight battle, and the world's strongest men competition, all on the CBS Sports Spectacular. Kickoff is short and fielded by number 35, Roland Harper of the Bears, who takes it back to the 32-yard line. So the Bears will have 1:46 to work with in the first half as they try to get on the scoreboard. Avellini hasn't thrown the football as much as we might have thought he might.
5 passes. Yeah. 5 passes he has thrown to this point.
And this against a team that is has the best rushing defense in the NFC. Harper and Payton, the setbacks. Obviously, he's got to throw it here to get in shape for a score. And he's got a receiver wide open in Bull Rather at the 50-yard line. He's run out of bounds by Bobby Bryant in front of the Minnesota bench.
Very nice timing by the Bears on that. Avellini to Rather came back for the ball, and actually Rather had time enough to turn around and face the defensive back after he caught it. He'll go down and out and come back. That's a very deep out. Comes back, and the timing was good enough, and the back was off far enough that Rather was able to turn around and face his defensive back and get a couple of 3 yards out of it. The defensive back should be on those patterns trying to hit the man at least when he's catching the ball.
Bears are at the Vikings 48-yard line. After a 20-yard pickup, we get penalty markers everywhere.
I'll bet you it goes against the Chicago Bears.
Offside.
Ted Albrecht, the left tackle, moved, and Payton was a little bit on the move too, but he could have been theoretically going in motion, but when both of them went, there was problems. There's the left tackle.
64, offense, illegal procedure, first down.
Illustrated for you very graphically. That moves it back to the Bear 47 at his first down 15. A minute 40 left to play in the first half. Plenty of time for the Bears, and they got the timeouts. Avellini sees an opening, 45, 50, down to the 45-yard line of the Minnesota Vikings. Halftime, of course, means a rundown on all the scores around the National Football League in this 5th weekend of 1977. So be sure and stay tuned. Here's what's upcoming next weekend on CBS. Interesting lineup of regional games for you. Cowboys in Philadelphia, Green Bay and Tampa Bay, Giants in Washington. Trying to make it 2 in a row over the Redskins this year, which would be unusual. Bears are home against Atlanta.
Yes, and the Falcons, of course, surprising this year at 3-1. They're losing to Buffalo in the third quarter today, 3-0. New Orleans, St. Louis, and Detroit, San Francisco.
If you're wondering about the Vikings, they play Los Angeles a week from tomorrow night.
Monday night game.
Second down 7 when we get back to work here. Bears have the football on the Viking 45-yard line. You see the time remaining, 1 minute and 29 seconds. Thus far, the Viking defense has pretty well shut down the Bears. Payton has had a couple of bursts, but the Vikings, Bears haven't been able to capitalize.
Avellini's been on the sidelines talking to Jack Pardee and Sid Gilman, who talks in turn with Fred O'Connor upstairs in the press box. Pardee has really brought the Bears around from a 4-10 record to 7-7 last year, and then this year they are 2-2. Very young team, though. Great future ahead.
Second and 7. Avellini standing in there strong. Now runs it. 45, 40, 35, 30, and out of bounds at the 28-yard line. One of the officials took a pretty good shot there from Krause trying to get out of the way.
Well, that's 2 weeks in a row. Bob Avellini has run the ball out of the pocket. He's not noted as a running quarterback, but he stepped forward in the pocket nicely. Good coverage downfield by the Vikings, and he saw a wide open spaces. Good blocking by the Bear line. And here goes Avellini. He carries that ball kind of loosely, but he saw people like Siemens and Eller coming along, and Bob did the wise thing. Man, let me out of bounds. Didn't even get a scratch, not even a bump.
George Murphy, the head linesman, took the fiercest shot on that play. First down, Bears at the Viking 27. A minute 20 to go in the half. Avellini, sideline throw to Bo Rather. And Rather is rocked out of bounds by Nate Wright, number 43.
Good grab by Rather, but Nate Wright did the job the way he's supposed to. You can't very well intercept a pass that's 5 yards down the field, and if you just lower the boom on the receiver, he'll be thinking about it the next time that he comes down for that short pass. So Nate Wright did his job. He'll give you the 5 yards, let you take your punishment.
Pickup of 4 on the play, actually. It'll be second down 6 with the ball at the 23-yard line of the Minnesota Vikings. Bears' most serious threat. If they can get on the scoreboard before halftime, picture's going to look a whole lot brighter. Avellini under pressure over the middle, complete to Scott at the 9. First down. James Scott with a diving catch at the 9-yard line. And now the Bears will call time.
James Scott, who caught 2 for 142 yards last week, faked a little Dipsy-Doo came inside. The pass was back to him. He came to the ball and made the grab. Good timing, good execution by all involved on the Bear offense. Bring that ball, bring the receiver back to you.
Pickup of 14 yards on the play. You basketball fans, we're about to get with it again. NBA on CBS. And we'll start the way we left off. The Philadelphia 76ers, the Portland Trail Blazers. Friday night, October 28th, 11:30 p.m. Dr. J going against Bill Walton. Rematch of last year's exciting championship series. Hard to believe basketball's here already, isn't it?
I'll tell you what. Right now is the time of the year when all 4 major sports are going on. Hockey and basketball. There's Bud Grant, who went hunting yesterday after practice. He loves to get up in the country and hunt a little bit. He's won 8 out of the last 9 years. He's won the division title. Of course, they've had trouble in the Super Bowl. But who, let me ask you, Frank, who would have beaten Oakland in the Super Bowl last year? Nobody.
I don't know anybody. Question is, who's going to beat them this year? You know, they tie a record. If they win today, that'll be 18 straight victories in regular season and postseason.
The Raiders?
Raiders do, yeah. Once again, NFL today coming up at halftime. First down, goal to go. Bears from the 9-yard line. Avellini on the rollout. Fires. Oh! Bo Rather for the touchdown. Boy, you don't think he caught that in a crowd.
And you should have seen the spike by number 69, Reeve Story. But I'll tell you, Bob Avellini threaded the needle on that pass. The partial rollout, good blocking by the line out front. Walter Payton's in on the blocking, too. He stops. Rather just went down there, turned in, and look at that ball. Right between 2 Minnesota defenders. The Bears are back in the ball game despite being dominated the first part of the game. Here's the rollout. Everybody's out there, even Piper, number 53, looking for somebody. And there is the pass right between the Viking defenders. Good play by the Bears. It's a new ball game.
Bob Thomas, extra point try is blocked. Up the middle. This is where we came in last year. As I recall, they had problems with a couple of extra points in last year's game up here that eventually proved to be the difference in winning and losing.
It may have been Matt Blair. I'm not sure. Let's take a look.
Looks like it came up the middle.
I think it was Matt Blair. Yes, it was. Who knocked that ball with his hand, just leaped up. He's got great leaping ability. And that's going to be a very important point. It's 13-6. It could, who knows, it could have an overtime.
68 yards, the Bear drive, and it took them 6 plays. Once again, the rundown of the CBS Sports Spectacular card for next weekend. Triple header boxing from Vegas. The Spinks brothers, Leon taking on Scott Ledoux in a heavyweight bout. And Michael are going against Gary Summerhays, light heavyweights. And Bernardo Machado against Greg Johnson in another heavyweight matchup, plus round 4 of the world's strongest men competition. Yeah, it's absolutely amazing how a team can be frustrated the whole half, and you get down inside that 2-minute warning, and it's like a whole new ball game. All of a sudden, the Bears went zip, 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 and they were in. Part of the crowd of 48,000 capacity here. Temperature around 55 degrees. Very pleasant day to watch football, particularly in the sunshine.
And they're never in a hurry to get out of the ballpark because they go outside, find their camper. There's about 50 million campers outside the ballpark, and then you sit there and have a little Coke or orange juice.
Or a little more than that. All right, Thomas to kick off. Manfred Moore is deep. Moore standing on the 15 at the 10-yard line is where he fields it up to the 15. Trying to hurdle a couple of tacklers as he crosses the 20 out to the 26-yard line. Art Best, number 25 on the tackle for the Bears. 1 minute exactly left to play in the first half, and there's the book on the Chicago scoring drive. 13-6 Vikings.
And for Fran Tarkington, 1 minute is plenty of time to try and get at least a field goal on the board.
And of course he's got the timeouts to work with. Tarkington over the middle, wide open is Miller at the 30, 35. And Miller has a first down at the 39-yard line. A pickup of 13 yards on the play. And the Vikings will stop the clock with 50 seconds left in the half.
Now you can watch the backs both go out. Tarkenton never leaves his backs in, and he's been throwing an awful lot over the middle, and you can see the middle zone was wide open, especially at this point of the game. Buffon misses, another missed tackle, and Miller was able to get himself a first down out of it. But they're trying to exploit that middle on the Bear linebackers as they drop off, which will have more of a tendency to drop off even more with 50 seconds left in the half.
Logan's Run tomorrow night on CBS, the series that hits with the impact of Star Wars. You can see it at 8, 7 Central and Mountain Time. As tomorrow a mighty battle looms for control of the Star Worlds. That's Logan's Run on CBS. You notice I left out intergalactic.
Yes. Intergalactic.
Work on that one.
Somebody made that word up. That's not a real word. It's almost obscene.
Francis Tarkenton had taken advantage of the timeout to talk to Bud Grant, although you have to admit, as much as Tarkenton knows about the game, it's like another coach in the field. When he goes to the sidelines, it is simply a courtesy call. I don't think there's much that Bud can tell him. First and 10, Vikings from their 40-yard line. Tarkenton straight back into the pocket, wants to go long. Sideline throw, and Sammy White tried to stand on the sidelines and catch that thing, but he was dragging at least 1 foot out of bounds, and the pass is called incomplete. Timeout situation.
Fran took a little punishment after he threw that ball. You know, one thing that makes Tarkenton so mobile back there is, if you ever notice when he sets up in his pattern, watch his feet. They go pitter-patter. His feet are going up and down. He's standing there looking for a receiver, and his feet go up and down. Most quarterbacks will get back there and set, and then throw, and their foot goes forward as they throw. Tarkenton's always got his feet moving.
The pitter-patter of Francis' feet. Second and 10. Vikes at their 40-yard line, leading 13-6. 44 seconds to go. Foreman gets the call, and this time the Bears were ready for him. Good defense by the Bears, particularly Roger Stillwell, number 71, who grabbed him by the jersey. And Chambers, of course, was there, too, and it was actually, if anything, a loss of a yard in the play. Back at the 39, it's now third down. And just about 11 needed for the first down. Here's Francis. Little pitter-patter for you. Foreman, one-handed catch. Close to the first down, but I don't believe he got it at the Viking 48-yard line. 12 seconds, 10 seconds to go. Now the Bears ought to call time here to force the Vikings to punt.
Well, the Vikings did it for them.
If I was the offense, I don't think I'd be calling time, would you?
No.
But if I was the defense, I would. So the Vikings call timeout with 5 seconds to go, 4th down and 2. And I would imagine now they may not be punting.
Here's a look at the last play. A nice grab by Foreman, one-handed, and he almost got the first down out of it. But Tarkenton, did you see, he was looking left all the way, and at the last minute he had to make a decision. He looked right and found Foreman. And then Foreman did the rest as he grabbed the ball and made a couple of nifty moves. You'll see Virgil Livers make the final crunching blow to keep him from getting the first down.
Well, the Vikings are not going to punt. They'll run out the clock here with 5 seconds to go. Don't forget NFL Today. At the conclusion of the first half, highlight scores, the whole works. Tarkenton sacked on the final play of the first half. A lot of pressure applied by the Chicago Bears. Ron Rydalch, number 76. That's the end of the first half with the score: Minnesota 13, Chicago 6.
Wherever you may roam, you'll find our name is known. You can trust a Delco. Thanks, Delco. Delco Freedom Battery. When things are getting thick and you want to start real quick, you can trust a Delco. Thanks, Delco. Delco Freedom Battery. They've got the stuff when the starting's tough. You can trust a Delco. Thanks, Delco. Delco Freedom Battery. Delco Freedom. Thanks, Delco.
Schlitz Light. Schlitz Light beer has a third fewer calories than our other fine beer, and all the taste beer drinkers expect from Schlitz.
Why does he drink that?
It is his beer. It's the only light beer with gusto.
Schlitz Light.
Beer drinkers know it took Schlitz to bring the taste to light.
Who is the #1 investment firm in the East? Who is the #1 investment firm in the Midwest? Who is the #1 investment firm in the South? Who is the #1 investment firm in the West? You know who. Merrill Lynch. All around America, more investors turn to Merrill Lynch than any other investment firm. Sure, there are lots of investment firms, but there's only one Merrill Lynch.
In 7 years of All in the Family, you've never seen an hour-long story like this.
You know, you smell wonderful.
Oh, that's lemon pledge.
You should be here at 6 o'clock. That's just a couple of...
Edith's 50th birthday party sets the stage for comedy and astonishing drama on a 1-hour special of All in the Family, Sunday at 9, 8 Central and Mountain.
Next Saturday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern, CBS Sports Spectacular presents a boxing triple-header with gold medalist Leon Spinks taking on Scott Ledoux in a heavyweight contest. Gold medalist Michael Spinks goes against the Canadian champion Gary Summerhays in a light heavyweight matchup. 10th-ranked heavyweight Bernardo Machado tangles with Greg Johnson. And the world's strongest men competition features the wheelbarrow race. That's next Saturday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern.
And what a second half that's going to be in the Chicago-Minnesota game. You're wondering about Terry Bradshaw. Will he quarterback Pittsburgh tomorrow night? We have checked with Steeler coach Chuck Noll, and yes, Bradshaw will try it. Now, he broke his wrist last Sunday against Houston. He'll have a cast. It's on the left wrist. He's practiced this week, but Noll says his only problem is taking the snaps from center. Well, you would think that would be an easy solution. Just have the center hand it back a little more gently. You can't do it, says Noll. We tried it, and it threw the timing off. So if Bradshaw can't play through the pain tomorrow night against Cincinnati, Neil Graff takes over as quarterback. What about O.J. Simpson today, Irv?
O.J. Simpson, Brent, just put his name in the record book once again. He went over 100 yards today against Atlanta Falcons in the fourth quarter. I just went out of the game with a slight injury, but he's gained over 10,000 yards rushing, and he's the second player ever to do that. Of course, the man who's done it and holds the record is Jim Brown with 12,312 yards.
What a fabulous career, Irv. How about the score of that game right now? Atlanta and Buffalo. The Falcons a slight favorite. They can't move on offense. 3-0, Buffalo ahead. Detroit leading Green Bay 10-6. The Packers, 2 field goals. They were up 6-3, but now the Lions have snapped back. Jim Hart is quarterbacking the Cardinals today. 14-3, third quarter. Worley has just intercepted for the Cardinals. San Francisco, after a rotten first half, has bounced back now in the fourth quarter. They trail the Giants by only a field goal. Baltimore and Kansas City. John Brockington scores for Kansas City. 17-6, the Colts are ahead. And, of course, the game you are watching, 13-6 at the half. Are the Bears for real? We'll find out in the second half. Cleveland and Houston. Donnie Pastorini did go in. John Hadle started for the Oilers. The Browns have come back, and right now they lead it by a score of 21-10. We gave Irv some added duty today because lovely Phyllis is not with us. Take us to the music piece, and it's about her beloved Dallas Cowboys.
That's right. It may not seem as bright, but it's a good spot anyway. Brent, you know, during the 17 years of their existence, the Dallas Cowboys have had only one head coach, and that's Tom Landry. He started out in 1960 with a ragtag expansion team which went the entire year without a victory. But right from the start, Landry knew he was going to build a mountain, as sung by Sammy Davis Jr.
Gonna build a mountain from a little hill. Gonna build me a mountain, at least I hope I will. Gonna build a mountain, gonna build it high. I don't know how I'm gonna do it, I only know I'm gonna try. Gonna build me a daydream from a little hope. Gonna push that daydream up the mountain slope. Gonna build a daydream, gonna see it through. Gonna build a mountain and a daydream, gonna make them both come true. Gonna build a heaven from a little hell. Gonna build me a heaven, and I know darn well, if I build my mountain with a lot of care and take my daydream up the mountain, then heaven will be waiting there. When I build that heaven, as I will someday, and the Lord sends Gabriel to take me away, the good Lord's grace. Gonna build me a mountain.
Tony Dorsett, still number one. He can't break into the Cowboys starting lineup. The NFL Today will continue on CBS after these messages from your local stations.
How far should an advertising girl go to get an account? Watch the new comedy On Our Own tonight, following Rhoda on CBS.
Jim Hart continues his hot hand. It is now St. Louis 21, Philadelphia 3. Let's take a look at O.J. Simpson. Here he is in action, first half against Atlanta. That first down set up a field goal. And it was Neil O'Donohue kicking it 30 yards. The only score. So look at those empty seats in Buffalo. Has attendance fallen off there? Now, here's the play. O.J. Simpson up over 10,000 yards. Trails only the great James Brown. Only the second running back in history to amass 10,000 yards. Irv, what an athlete he is.
Boy, a super athlete. I'm really happy to see him go over that 10,000-yard mark, too. But the Philadelphia Eagles right now trail the St. Louis Cardinals, you indicated, Brent, in the fourth quarter by a score of 21-3. And the Cardinals, of course, need this win desperately. This is second quarter action here with Jimmy Hart, who's having a hot hand, going outside to number 84, Ike Harris, who waltzes along the sideline for the first Cardinals score. They led here in the second quarter, 7-3. He came back again late in the second quarter to Terry Metcalf, who hasn't played much, but he played long enough to score this touchdown. And in the fourth quarter, the Cardinals lead it 21-3.
Irv, I hope that everyone heard in our pregame show on the NFL Today the latest rumor about Reggie Jackson and Billy Martin and the New York Yankees. Time magazine will report tomorrow that Jackson claims he will not return under any circumstances to the Yankees if Billy Martin remains the manager. Can you believe that? They're one victory away from winning a World Series, and they still got turmoil like that. They should be getting ready to pop the champagne in L.A. Let's take a look now at some of the highlights of the game you've been watching. Chicago and Minnesota. There's the fumble going, and the Vikes turned it into a touchdown. It was Chuck Foreman, 7-0 after the extra point. And it looked like it was going to be a long, long day in Bloomington. Here's Art Best. He's been a good pickup. Los Angeles Rams got rid of him, but not this time. But then the Bears managed to rally. Avellini has come alive. Didn't he look good Monday night? Here he is, hitting Bo Rather, 13-6. I got a hunch, Irv Cross, that it's going to be a war up there in Bloomington in the second half. Well, let's take a look now at the San Francisco 49ers and the New York Giants. Couple of games in the Meadowlands. The first half, I have never seen a team look as bad as the San Francisco 49ers did. Now, in the third quarter, Whittam was punting, and here is Hammond, and it looked like it was going to be more of the same. Keep in mind, at the time, it was 17-3. This is a fine return, and Hammond is a player. He has been all year for the Giants. They kicked a field goal. It was 20-3. Finally, the slumbering giant by the bay came awake. 46 yards to Harrison from Plunkett, down to the 3. 2 plays later, Jackson for the touchdown. Plunkett again. This time, he wants Gene Washington. Set it up, and after they scored, it was 20-17. So they are very much in the chase. And right now, let's go back to Bloomington. Here's Frank Gleber and Johnny Morris.
We're at halftime with the Minnesota Vikings leading the Chicago Bears by a score of 13-6. Pretty hard-fought football game. In the early going, it was all Minnesota, but the Bears certainly came back during the 2-minute period and tied things up. Chuck Foreman, Johnny's had a great first half. 87 yards rushing, and I notice he's caught, what, 3 passes? That's not bad.
3 passes for 24 yards. That's pretty good all-around football. The difference has been those 2 fumbles. The Bears have fumbled twice, lost the ball twice. Total yardage is very close. Minnesota 178 to 156 for the Chicago Bears. The Bears have only tried 8 passes. Avellini is 6 for 8. Fran Tarkenton is 7 for 16. So statistics-wise, it's fairly close. But on the board, it's 13-6 Vikings.
I'm a little amazed at that statistic because, as we mentioned, I think, earlier, the Vikings have the #1 defense against the rush. So you'd expect Avellini to be throwing a lot more, but obviously he hasn't.
No, they're trying to penetrate that, make the Vikings think they're going to run, and then throw the bomb to Scott or to start opening up. The Bears have had a tendency over the past couple of years to stick with the game plans. Their game plan obviously was to run and throw. They'd like to run 50 plays and throw 20. That's the ratio that they would like to do. And they're going to stick to that and hope that it works. And some coaches believe in sticking with the game plan. Some coaches believe that if something goes wrong, they'll break the game plan right away. But the Bears have stuck with it.
A lot of unusual things, I guess you might say. It's a rarity now when you see 2 teams with the quarterbacks calling their own plays in one game. That's getting to be a little bit unusual in the National Football League.
I think it's great. If you stop and think about the great teams, Bart Starr called his own plays. Johnny Unitas called his own plays. Kenny Stabler, when the Oakland won the Super Bowl, calls his own plays. The teams that really came on and were championship teams and are winners consistently have quarterbacks, and the Vikings are another team. Our winners will have the quarterback call their own plays, and I believe in it personally. And I think that most coaches, as long as they have confidence in the quarterback, will let the quarterback do that because he's down on the field and he can get advice from up in the press box in between series. But there's nobody that has the feel like the man down on the field. I don't care what you say.
Yeah, we gave you Foreman's rushing statistics of 87 yards in the first half. Not to downgrade Mr. Payton. He had a pretty good first half, too. He picked up 66 yards in 11 carries, which averages out to 6 yards per carry. And ironically, that's what he was averaging coming into the ballgame.
Yes, and he'll probably break 1 or 2 more before this game is over. The Bears came on strong last year against the Vikings and almost pulled it out. We'll see what happens this year. That blocked extra point by Blair could be very instrumental in determining the outcome of this game. Who knows?
As it was last year when the Vikings managed to thwart 2 of the extra point efforts of Bob Thomas, and it proved to be a 1-point ball game with the Minnesota Vikings defeating the Chicago Bears 1 year ago, 20-19 up here, and then Chicago turning the tables and beating Minnesota by 1 out there. The teams are back, and we'll be ready to go in just a moment.
I'm going to keep on doing that till I get it right. Yeah, I work hard and I play hard, and I use new STP gas treatment. You just pump it in your tank and it goes to work cleaning your carburetor. I take good care of my wheels on account of I'm cheap. I bet you are, too. Try it.
The Quintrix 2-color picture tube from Panasonic brings you a very lifelike picture. Because Quintrix 2 is our inline picture tube with an extra pre-focus lens that concentrates and focuses the electron beam to bring you Panasonic's sharpest picture ever. So lifelike, you may even feel you're part of the picture. Quintrix 2, one more reason Panasonic is just slightly ahead of our time.
This is my team, the Chicago Bears. Hello, I'm Johnny Musso, and I'd like to show you Chicago. Carl Sandburg, the poet, calls Chicago the city of big shoulders. That's because it carries so much of the trade and commerce of this country. It's where trucks and trains and ships pass through on their way to all of America. It's tall buildings on the lakefront, Old Town, Rush Street, and the Magnificent Mile. And it's people, good-natured, hard-working people, people who work in our United Way, for the boys' clubs, YMCA, Travelers Aid, and many other agencies funded by our United Way. They take pride in the Bears, in our town, in our United Way. You see, Chicago has more than big shoulders. It has a big heart. On behalf of all our volunteers, we'd like to say, thanks to you, it works for all of us, the United Way.
The preceding announcement was brought to you as a public service by the National Football League. Vikings will kick off. For those of you interested in comparing Chuck Foreman and Walter Payton in the first half, this is the way they stand. Foreman did catch 3 passes in addition to that for 24 yards, and Payton did not catch a pass. But pretty even so far. To the great running backs, the National Football League. Freddie Cox to kick off for the Vikings. Art Best running this one down, and Musso comes up with it at the 20. And dropped at the 28.
They may call some piling on here. I don't know.
I'm looking for a police. Is that a flag down there?
Yes.
Yes, it is a flag next to the ball. So there was a penalty marker thrown at the 28-yard line. And the penalty will be against Minnesota, and it will cost the Vikings 15 yards. And that'll move it out to the 43. Give the Bears excellent field position. Let's get the call here from the referee, Bob Frederick.
Defense, personal foul number 54, piling on. First down.
Keen eyes, Mr. Morris.
Well, when you see bodies flying late, you got to figure something's wrong somewhere.
You see the flag go, right? First and 10 for the Bears at their 43-yard line. Payton got a yard to the 44, and that's it. As the left side of the Vikings defensive line stacked him up, Alan Page, number 88 in there. Alan's got to be one of the world's oldest law students at 32. He's like now in his 15th year of law school. He does it a semester at a time.
Well, he's getting there, though. I'll tell you what, I give him credit for that.
Second down 9. They really call Payton Sweetness.
Sweetness, yes.
They really do call him that.
Yeah, that's his real nickname. When it comes to football, that's exactly what he is.
Slot formation left with Bo Rather in the slot. On second down 9, Avellini backs up to throw. The blitz was on by the Vikings. Caused him to hurry it a little bit. Rather, the intended receiver at the 50-yard line as McNeil was coming in on the left side. 6 out of 9 now for Bob Avellini.
It's very hard to throw deep against the Vikings because they do use so many zone defenses, and you've got Paul Krause back there in center field who has amazing reactions and know-how from playing so long in the league that he helps out. A lot of times it might appear to be a man-for-man coverage, but he's there to help out, and they use different zones, as do the Bears. These teams use mostly zone defenses on pass defense now. So it's hard to get behind anybody. The Bears are trying to throw in front if they can.
Third down 9, Bears at their 44. Again, pressure on Avellini, runs out of it, 45 to the 50-yard line, short of the first down. At midfield, Avellini ran well in the latter stages of the first half. Ran 3 times for a total of 26 yards. Some of it coming in that Bear touchdown drive. Not enough there for the first down, and the Bears will have to punt.
Well, he was being swarmed upon by the Vikings and just went forward in the pocket very nicely and saw wide open spaces, but he had a long ways to go. So right here, if he wanted to put his shoulder down, try and run over somebody, he might have been able to get the first down, but quarterback's not supposed to do that, and for long length of life in the NFL, you don't.
Schubert pinning Manfred Moore at the 7-yard line. Following Bob Parsons' punt. Bob had a bad first half, 3 punts for a 28-yard average, which included 1 5-yarder, which took that reverse bounce. Time out of the field. Vikings lead the Bears 13-6. We're a minute and a half deep into the second half.
Should have bought Mobile One. The oil, it saves you gas, you know.
Should have bought Mobile One. Helps you start at 35 below.
Should have bought Mobile One. Engine temperature hits 500. You're cool.
Should have bought Mobile One. You only change it every 15,000 miles.
Mobile One, the oil that does it all. Take it from an expert.
Want to cut your fuel bills? Whether your house is new or old, put insulation everywhere. It can save you money. Your attic. You need a 6 to 12-inch blanket of pink Owens Corning fiberglass. Walls, full insulation. Unheated crawl space, insulate below the floor. Live where it's cold, insulate basement walls. See your Owens Corning fiberglass supplier to learn all about insulation. Insulation is cheaper than oil.
Vikings with their backs to the wall have a first down at their 7-yard line. We've got an update and a score for you here.
St. Louis leads Philadelphia now 21-10 in the fourth quarter. Jaworski has thrown a pass to Herb Luss for a touchdown.
Don't forget Logan's Run. CBS tomorrow night, 8 o'clock, 7 Central and Mountain Time. Two mighty forces battle over who shall rule the star world of the 24th century. Vikings' first offensive possession of the second half. They lead by 7. Tarkinen throwing from the end zone out to Foreman. I think he hung that up in the air a little bit longer than he'd wanted to because it gave Fensick the opportunity to grab hold of Foreman and make sure he didn't get away. Picked up 3 in the play to the 10. It'll be second down 7.
Detroit and Green Bay in a pretty good game. In the fourth quarter, it's 10-6 Detroit in the fourth quarter. And the Giants lead San Francisco 20-17 in the fourth quarter.
Our score, the Bears 6 and the Vikings 13. We're just underway here in the third period. Bears trying to get the good defense going here. Force the Vikings to punt from deep in their own territory. If they keep that up, they'll do just that. Chuck Foreman getting the call and getting at most a yard, which will set up third down and a long 6 needed for the first down. Rod Rideouch, number 76, filling the hole that time for the Bears.
Will Tarkington go for the pass to an outside man like the down and out or the Cook, or will he go for the backs as he's done so much today, just wheeling out of the backfield trying to get the 6 or 7 yards? Interesting call. We'll see what Tarkington comes up with on his own 11-yard line.
The Bears could hold them here. They'd be in great shape. They'd have the Vikings punting from the goal line. And they go instead to Foreman, and Foreman has the first down, but lost the ball, and the Bears recover at the 27-yard line. Number 50 for the Chicago Bears happens to be the man of the hour, and that's Wayman Bryant.
I guess turnabout is fair play. It's just kind of the semi-draw here as he stutter steps, and a beautiful call by Tarkington. Big hole, and finally he's hit, and the ball comes spurting out. And there was Wayman Bryant, 50 to jump on it. So the Bears now in Minnesota territory on the 27-yard line, first down, and a chance to tie the game.
Great field position for Chicago as Amelini brings him up to the line of scrimmage. Rather in the slot off to the right side, the fake to Payton. Amelini on the rollout, going to run it. I don't believe he got back to the line of scrimmage. He was run out of bounds at the 28-yard line, which would be a loss of 1 yard on the play. Eller running him out.
Good coverage downfield by the Viking defensive backfield because Avellini had a lot of time on that rollout to find somebody, but nobody was open. Here's the final score. The New York Giants beat the 49ers 20-17. That is now a final, and it was Baltimore over Kansas City 17-6. So the Colts are now 5-0 in that Eastern Division of the AFC.
Second and 11. Bears at the Viking 28-yard line, trying to tie it up. Payton flagged down. As Payton reaches the 24, we've got a hold against the Bears. That's the preliminary indication we get, holding against Chicago.
Well, that's something that'll stop a drive in a big hurry.
Walter Payton has had 100-yard games in each of the Bears' 3 home games this year. But in their only previous road game against St. Louis, which we saw, he gained only 36 yards.
Offensive holding, number 64.
Ted Albrecht was called for holding. They now have a second down and very long yardage situation.
Second and 21 for the Bears at the 38-yard line of the Minnesota Vikings. Bears trailing 13-6. 11:44 left to play in the third period. Avellini, third-year man from Maryland, stands strong in the pocket and hits Scott at the 25, and Scott is down near the 20-yard line. Not quite enough for the first down. They have to reach the 17 to pick up the first, but that takes them to within 4 yards of the first down. Pickup of 17, and Paul Krause makes the stop.
The Vikings put a blitz on. They had Blair 59 coming, but the Bears held him out just long enough as Scott went down and in, made the catch, and took his punishment. Good play. James Scott is becoming more and more of a vital cog in the Bear offense, not only with the bombs, but now catching passes in the 15 to 20-yard range, which are so important.
Third down and 4. Bears at the Viking 21-yard line. They have to reach the 17 for the first down. Avellini, sideline throw, knocked away from Bo Rather by Nate Wright.
Good coverage by Nate Wright. Jolted the ball loose. Stops the Bear drive, and they'll have to settle for a possible field goal unless they decide to go for it, which they won't. They're going to kick.
Thomas on the year, 5 out of 7 in the field goal department. This is his first effort of the afternoon. It is a 38-yard attempt. Long enough. Good. Thomas connects from 38 yards away. So that means with a touchdown now, the Bears could take the lead. Timeout in Minnesota. We'll be back in just a moment.
You want to start something? You want to start something?
You want to start something? Start using Rayovac alkaline energy cells, the finest battery Rayovac makes. No ordinary battery can last as long as our alkaline energy cell. In fact, one Rayovac alkaline can last up to 8 times longer than an ordinary battery. So if you want to start something, start using Rayovac alkaline.
Get something started with Rayovac.
When life's grind gets to you.
Oh, Mustang. Mustang. Let a Mustang take you away.
This is a great time to go Mustang because this year Mustang 2 is base sticker price less than last year.
Mustang.
The 78 Ford Mustang 2 T-Roof convertible.
Go Mustang.
So beat the grind. Go Mustang. A better idea from Ford.
Monday on Logan's Run, a man with a deadly mission is sent into the future to change history as 2 civilizations fight for life on Logan's Run. Monday at 8, 7 Central and Mountain.
Bob Thomas ready to kick off for the Chicago Bears. 10:49 left to play in the third period. Manfred Moore is deep. Swift kick up the middle. Who's going to field it? For a moment like no one would. Sammy White finally picked it up and is dropped at the 27-yard line. 1st and 10 for the Vikings. Big lineup of regional action on CBS next Sunday. These are some of the games that you'll have an opportunity to see depending on what part of the country you happen to live. Cowboys and the Eagles, Green Bay, Tampa Bay, Giants and Washington. Bears are at home against Atlanta, New Orleans, St. Louis, and Detroit against San Francisco. Francis Tarkenton with a nice fake into the middle. Tarkenton going upstairs, and Ellis picks it off and goes out of bounds at the 37. First down, Bears. Ellis has been setting that one up all afternoon. He's gotten close.
Allen has had a good game. He covered Sammy White early in the ball game. Up the play-action pass, Tarkenton fires the ball, and he is simply covered, and Ellis comes up with great reaction, steals the ball, and puts the Bears in Viking territory at the 37-yard line.
Well, first a fumble, now a pass interception. Let's see if the Bears are able to capitalize. They can take the lead now with a touchdown. First down at the Minnesota 37-yard line. Avellini calling his own plays for the second game. Hands off to the second man, who is Payton. And Walter takes it to the 34. Pick up a 3 in the play. It'll be second down 7. Carl Eller, number 81, makes the stop.
What the Bears are doing, they had the double slot that time, as you see Walter following Harper, and of course Carl Eller gets on there and gets a nice shot in there. But they're doing the double slot that last time to the right side to bring Jeff Wright over, and that eliminates him from making a tackle along to the weak side. Now they're in the double slot again, both wide receivers on this side.
Avellini has never thrown a touchdown pass against the Vikings. He faced them just a couple of times. Slips the ball to Harper. But the Vikings weren't full, and they trip up Harper for a loss at the 37. Fred McNeil leading the charge that time as the Vikings defense is getting tough. Been tough all the way through. Just doesn't give much at all. So that takes it back to the original line of scrimmage. We're now at 3rd down 10.
Mark Mullaney is now in. Jim Marshall just went out of the game on this 3rd down situation.
Mulaney was a top draft choice of the Vikings defensive lineman 1 year ago. On 3rd and 10, they give it to Payton, and Payton is stopped. Virtually no gain on the play as things turned out, as the Bears are stopped cold by the Viking defense.
Well, they tried to draw on the passing situation, and Payton just could not get loose, although he tried. And the Vikings finally got him down. They're in a situation now, 4th and 9. So Bob Parsons going to punt.
Oh, but out of Thomas's field goal range, it would take a field goal attempt of something like 53, 54 yards. Good rush on Parsons, but he gets it away. Bouncing at the 5 and heading on into the end zone. The Bears tip it back onto the field of play, and it's down at the 7-yard line.
The Bears are saying that it was touched by a Viking, that there's a fumble.
Of course, the ball did go into the end zone, but it did not touch the ground in the end zone. So the Bears quite legally batted it back on the field of play, and it's down at the 7.
Good play by Schubert.
Vikings take over, 1st and 10 at their 7. Timeout here in Bloomington.
Sir, what's the hurry? Going to rent a car. Oh, well, you don't have to run. Gotta run. Oh, no, if you had an Avis Wizard number, you could walk. Walk? Call toll-free and let our Wizard system do the running. Just show a major credit card, license, sign, and get the car. I don't have to run through airports? Not with Avis. I can walk through airports.
We try hard, Avis, we don't know another way.
I'm walking through airports.
Leslie Caron for Color Track by RCA.
In Gigi, my brooch was blue, the leaves were green, and my gown was lavender lace. If these colors don't look right to you, you should know about Color Track from RCA. Getting the color right is what Color Track is all about. It actually adjusts the colors and locks them on track.
Before you see the Color Track system grabs it, aligns it, defines it, sharpens it, tones it, and locks the color on track.
RCA is making television better and better.
The National Basketball Association wars get underway shortly. And our premier game this year on CBS, the 2 best of last year, Philadelphia and Portland, will tip it off Friday night, October 28th at 11:30 Eastern Time. Dr. J and Bill Walton. Vikings 1st and 10 from their 7-yard line on 2 of their 3 possessions here. The last 3, they've started at the 7-yard line. That's not field position at all. Wally Chambers making his presence felt on the right side of that defensive line. That's a 4th period score.
21-17 St. Louis. St. Louis now 1-3 in the Eastern Division, so they need a victory there. It's quite a game going on in the AFC Central. Cleveland 21, Houston 20 in the 3rd quarter.
Miller is coupled with Foreman behind Fran Tarkenton on 2nd down 8. Francis throwing from the goal line, drops it over the middle out to the 14-yard line. He's got to pay a lot of attention to Mr. Foreman, number 44, and Wayman Bryant did just that. 3rd down, and the Vikings still need 3 for the 1st down at their 14.
Well, Tarkenton sent out both backs again. He doesn't leave anybody in to help out. A lot of quarterbacks will keep a back in or even 2 backs to make sure they don't get sacked, but not Fran. He figured he just doesn't need it, and he gets those backs out in the patterns.
Sammy White to the right side, Rashad to the left. And again, Tarkenton backs up to throw. Under pressure this time from the Bears, still looking. Gets it away and throws it incomplete. Intended for Rashad, but considerably short of the mark at the 30-yard line.
He is uncanny back there when he is rushed. It's just unbelievable. He got that pass on, and he was throwing it away, but Rashad was kind of in the area. You can't call anything on him. Great play. But the Bears have stopped the Vikings pretty cold this second half and have had 2 opportunities and only come up with 3 points.
Schubert is deep. Claybo punting from his goal line. Bears playing return all the way, and he gets a nice punt off, driving Schubert back to his 38. Schubert at the 40-yard line looking for a block. Gets away from one man to the 40, 45, and is stopped near midfield. So once again, the Bears will start with fairly decent field position at their 49-yard line. 7 minutes, 1 second left to play in the third period, and Minnesota leading Chicago 13-9.
I've got a nice business, but I'm no whiz at financial planning. Fortunately, my Connecticut General representative is. He sure comes through for me.
Coming through for you. That's what CG people do.
My company needs an insurance representative as professional as our lawyer, tax advisor, and accountant. And Connecticut General always comes through.
Coming through for you. That's what CG people do.
Call us. We'll come through for you, too.
I was asked to talk about the incredible Black & Decker Workmate. There's almost nothing it can't hold. But the Workmate is so incredible, I'm going to let it do the talking. The Workmate from Black & Decker and nobody else. When America has a job to do, it reaches for Black & Decker.
There's a final score in the Central Division of the NFC. Detroit beating Green Bay 10-6.
So, excuse me, Frank, that would mean that Detroit's 3-2 in the Central Division. Green Bay now 1-4.
A long year for the Pack, looks like. Bob Avellini, 7 out of 11 for 77 yards. First and 10, Bears at their 49-yard line. Good protection for Avellini. Floats it out there, just trying to reach the receiver, who in this case happened to be Roland Harper, number 35. Just over his head at the 30-yard line. At 47,708 here in attendance, 738 no-shows. I tell you, you couldn't find a better day to go to a football game on.
There's not an earmuff in the whole stadium. Who would have believed it up in Minnesota?
There's probably a few in the pockets that they're not wearing them, just in case.
Well, there's a big earmuff.
Second and 10. Bears at their 49-yard line. They've had trouble running the football, so Avellini's going to the air. Fires on the run and completes it to Letta down to the 30-yard line of Minnesota. First down. Did a good job as he took off and threw the football in mid-flight, mid-stride.
And this is where Bob Avellini has made his progress. Watch Latta go down. He'll hook to the inside, and he'll see Avellini in trouble, and he comes back to help out and adjust his pattern. Avellini was on the run and hit Latta, who's taped up just like a lineman, but he catches that ball with those high-top shoes and says, give me that ball, first down.
That's the way he sneaked around Jeff Seaman, the middle linebacker?
Yes.
First and 10, the Bears on the move here. They need a touchdown to take the lead, and they're at the Viking 30. Peyton, marker down. Penalty marker down.
Here is a final score in a real high-scoring game. Buffalo 3, Atlanta nothing. That is a final. Buffalo's first victory of the year.
Boy, that's got to be disappointing. Here's a 5-yard walk-off against the Vikings offside. Carl Eller was offside. That makes it 1st and 5. The Bears at the 25-yard line of Minnesota.
The biggest excitement about that Buffalo game probably had to be O.J. Simpson going over the 10,000-yard mark. Here's a final, a must game for St. Louis, just barely beating Philadelphia 21-17.
Our score, the Vikings 13 and the Bears 9. 1st and 5, Bears at the Viking 25-yard line. Harper down to the 21, within a yard of the first down. Fred McNeil making the stop.
Dan Piper really tied up Alan Page on this play to allow him to get through the line. Now watch, you'll see 53 tying up Alan Page, and then Harper puts his head down, runs into McNeil, who hangs on, gets a little help from Sutherland, but the Bears got some yardage out of it. A 2nd down and 2 situation, which is a beautiful situation to be in, especially when you're down on the 20-yard line.
Actually, a little more than a yard is all they need for the first down, the way that ball is spotted, and Sweetness gets it. And then some as he moves it inside the 15-yard line to the 13.
Isn't it amazing how when he gets hit by a bunch of people, it seems like everybody rolls down the field and he winds up with an extra 3 or 4 yards. That's because
Bears win this, of course, they tie the Vikings for the divisional lead. They lose it, they're 2 games out. Crowd imploring the Minnesota defense to dig in and stop them. Harper to about the 1-yard line. Stacked up on the right side of the defensive line of the Minnesota Vikings. Official's going to put it down at the 2.
If the Bears get close enough, we can get the slow motion cameras ready for Walter Payton's dive up and over for the touchdown. He probably gets higher and flies farther than anybody in the NFL once he gets close enough and gets a chance to leap.
2nd down, goal to go. Payton. Jim Marshall, 39 years old and 18 years in the league.
Well, they decided to go off the tackle almost to the end run side, and there was no place to go because great play by Jeff Seaman and a follow-up by Jim Marshall, who was sure-handed when he got a hold of Payton that time. Good defense by the Vikings.
Minnesota digging in, crowd getting louder. 3rd down, goal to go. Avellini on the roll, fires, touchdown! Greg Letta puts the Bears in the lead.
Bob Avellini once again. Bud Grant says he's the most improved aspect of the Bears. He almost collided with Walter Payton, rolls out. The Vikings smell it coming, but Avellini just zipped the ball on the run, and there was Greg Latta, sure-handed with those taped up, but he got the ball. Watch this here. Almost busted his pattern coming out on the rollout, and that's a tough pass to catch. You got to get your hands up there. If you miss it, it's going to zip right through, and then it's a touchdown.
Well, Avellini, who had never thrown a touchdown pass against the Vikings, has 2 to his credit. Thomas connects on the extra point, and the Bears have taken the lead for the first time this afternoon with 2 minutes and 22 seconds left to play in quarter number 3. Chicago, by the margin of a field goal, leads it 16-13. And again, you look back at that block extra point, it would mean that the Vikings, of course,
would have a chance to tie the game, but there's
Right.
a long time. I don't think it's going to end up 16-13 or even 16-0.
CBS Sports Spectacular next Saturday afternoon at 4:30. The tripleheader boxing from Vegas, featuring the Spinks brothers. Leon, the heavyweight, against Scott Ledoux, and his little brother Michael goes against Greg Summerhays in the light heavyweight bout, and Bernardo Macedo, another heavyweight, against Greg Johnson. Fine boxing action, and then of course the world's strongest men competition. They're in round 4 of that 10-part series on CBS. They've had some very interesting events, and next week they've got the wheelbarrow race.
No, I am not entered, Frank, in the wheelbarrow race.
I didn't say anything. Once again, the squib kick by the Bears, trying to prevent the long run back, but instead they get a pretty good return out of Mark Keller, number 39.
Mark Keller used to go to Northern Illinois University.
He takes it out to the 44-yard line, so fairly good field position for the first time in the second half for the Minnesota Vikings, who find themselves trailing. Tarkinen at the throttle. Giving to Foreman, across the 45 to the 46-yard line. 2 minutes left to play in the third quarter. Bears defense all fired up now.
The Bear defense has done a pretty good job since the first quarter. If you stop and analyze this game so far, since a couple of fumbles by the Bears and a couple of early drives by the Vikings, they haven't done anything offensively since that time.
Second down 8, Minnesota at its 46-yard line. Tarkinen with a nice fake, rolls to the right, drops it off to Stu Voigt, his tight end, and Voigt is down to the Bear 39. Gary Fencing rides him out of bounds. That last carry by Foreman, by the way, got him over the 100-yard rushing mark. He's now at 101 in 18 carries, his first 100-yard rushing effort of the year.
And I wonder what the completion ratio is from Tarkington to Stu Voigt. He doesn't throw to Voigt very much, but when he does, it seems like they're always complete.
Vikings moving now from the Bear 39-yard line. Foreman caught at the line of scrimmage.
Great play by Don Reeves. He came in from the backside and caught Foreman from behind before he could really hit the point of penetration on the hole. And now we're going to see Fran Tarkenton probably go to the air for a couple of plays.
No gain. Second down, 10. Here come the Vikings, divisional champions 8 of the last 9 years. Green Bay, the only team to beat them out of a divisional title in that time, and they're going for their 5th straight. And the Bears giving them a stiff argument. Tarkenton, Newsome after him. He gets it away. There's a marker down as Voigt makes the catch, but is out of bounds behind the line of scrimmage. He lost a yard on the play, and I think we've got a holding call coming up against Minnesota. So the Bears have a decision here that they take a 1-yard loss and the down moves on, or do they take the 10-yard penalty and give the Vikings the down over?
It is an interesting decision because if they take the penalty, they can pretty much put them out of field goal range, but also you give them that down over again. I don't know. I think I'd put them out of territory.
That's what the Bears are going to do. They read your mind. 10-yard walk-off moves it back to the 49. Let's see who it was against.
Offensive holding, number 62, second down.
Ed White, the veteran guard. Newsome comes out, and so does Reeves.
Mike Hartenstein has come in for the Bears, playing at the defensive right end. You have Rydalch, Chambers, and Jerry Myers.
Second and 20. Bears, or rather Vikings, are at the Bear 49-yard line. Tarkenton back to throw it. The rush is on. He steps up into the pocket, fires wide open. Down to the far sideline is Rashad. He's got the 20 yards that they needed for the first down, plus perhaps one more at the 26-yard line. Correction, that's Grimm. Bobby Grimm, number 26 instead of 28.
Big catch for Bob Grimm. Keep that drive alive.
That is his first catch of the year for Bobby Grimm. And the clock has run out here in the third period of play. Bears leading the Minnesota Vikings by a score of 16-13. That's the end of the third quarter. We now pause for a word from your local station.
Archie's surprise birthday party for Edith turns out to be the shock of their lives. See tonight's special 1-hour episode of All in the Family here on CBS.
Frank Labor along with Johnny Morris. Bloomington, Minnesota, Metropolitan Stadium. The Vikings are driving. They have a first down at the Bear 26-yard line as we get the fourth period underway. Francis Tarkenton, 11 out of 22 for 123 yards. Sammy White in motion across the backfield. The pitch back goes to Johnson, who has just come into the game. Sammy Johnson.
Chuck Foreman has gone out of the game, so now it's McClanahan and Johnson in the backfield together. Johnson very popular here in Minnesota. A lot of people think he should be playing a lot more than he does. But sometimes it's hard to get the right combination of backs so that you take advantage of situations. There's Chuck Foreman on the sidelines itching to get back in the game.
No gain on that last play. It is second down 10. Tarkenton quickly retreating back into the pocket. And a diving catch for the first down at the 12-yard line by Sammy White. Covering for the Bears, Virgil Livers.
Well, it was just simply a great catch by Sammy White. Good protection for Tarkenton just over the linebacker, Wayman Bryant, and short where Livers was, and he makes the dive, kept his elbows in, got control of the ball. Beautiful catch by Sammy White.
Sammy was a number 2-round draft choice last year and far exceeded everyone's expectations, wound up making the Pro Bowl. First and 10 from the 12. It is Johnson to the 9, maybe the 8-yard line. Johnson, big guy, 6'1", 226. Fourth-year man out of North Carolina. There's Expansion Bowl 2, they're calling it up in Seattle.
A battle of the Beatons. And there's Oakland 7, Denver nothing in the first quarter.
What else is new? Well, they marked the ball at the 9-yard line, so a pickup actually of a couple of yards in the play. Second and 8. Quick hitter, and Foreman, who has come back into the game, carries to the 5. Boy, he pops through there quickly, too.
Well, Don Reese makes the tackle, but not before we get a good block down the line there by the offensive right tackle of the Vikings. Ron Yeri, 73 from Southern California, made a nice block on that. USC has more players than anybody in the NFL. 41 former Trojans are in the NFL.
Those are the ball just inside the 5. They have to reach the 2 to pick up the first down. Third down. 3 for the first down. Little less than 5 for the touchdown. Tarkenton going for the 6. Incomplete. Livers back there with the pass coverage as Ahmad Rashad tried to find the handle and couldn't.
Well, they had the right idea. He threw the ball up and over. Livers is not very tall. Rashad had a step, but Livers makes a leap at the last second. Actually, the ball came off his shoulder pad. Bounced off the shoulder pad. He could not make the grab, so the Vikings apparently will go for the field goal, which would tie the game at 16.
Cox has made 2. This will be a 21-yard attempt. Not much more than an extra point when you get right down to it. Krause to put it down. It's good. So we are tied. The Vikings and the Bears are knotted up at 16 apiece with 12 minutes and 24 seconds left in the game.
In stage 1 of my life, I couldn't stand dull wheels. I'm the same in stage 2 with my new 78 Ford LTD2. The trimmer, sportier LTD at a trimmer price. The LTD of mid-size cars. If you're a sporty guy who appreciates the finer things in life, welcome to stage 2.
Isn't it you in an LTD2? You'll never know till you try.
Welcome to LTD2.
A better idea from Ford.
You know me. They still remember me as a senator in Washington. But there are lots of places where folks don't know me at all. Now that I have more time to travel and entertain, I recently got me an American Express card. With this, maybe they'll treat me like somebody important, even though I'm just a plain old country lawyer from North Carolina.
To apply for a card, call 800-528-8000.
The American Express card. Don't leave home without it.
Having dinner with clients is part of your job.
The trick is to gain a client, not lose a reputation. On Our Own tonight, following Rhoda.
Stay here, Mr. Barnes.
Art Best waiting as Cox prepares to kick off. Oh, Freddie. Score tied now at 16. That's Baschnagel at the 25, across the 35, out to the 38-yard line. Fielding the short kickoff by Fred Cox. There's the book on the Minnesota scoring drive as they responded to Chicago going ahead in the ballgame for the first time. Bears first and 10 at their 38-yard line. Good football game.
Let's see if the Bears turn conservative or whether they throw the ball up a little bit, take a few chances. They've really gotten on the board by some key passes, actually.
Young offensive line has done a good job protecting Avellini. This young Bear line averages just 24 years of age. Little hit screen out to the wide receiver, James Scott. And Scott run out of bounds at the 46-yard line. But a pickup of 7 or 8 on the play. Logan's Run tomorrow night at CBS. Intergalactic action. You didn't think I'd do it again, did you? Battle for control of the Star Worlds. 8 p.m., 7 o'clock Central and Mountain Time.
Here's another Star Wars. Washington 3, Dallas nothing. That game is in the first quarter. A Mosley field goal from 25 yards out.
2nd down and 2. Bears from their own 46-yard line got 8 on the little screen to James Scott. Harper trying to pick up the first down. And Jeff Seaman, the middle linebacker, was there to shove him back. 3rd down. Let's see where they spot it. It'll be within a yard.
Avellini is signaling to the sidelines. It's 3rd and 1, and here come the people in. He wanted the men for the short yardage situation, so he's on top of the game. He wasn't calling for somebody to send in a play. He was calling for the short yardage situation.
Got a second tight end in there, Chuck Bradley. 3rd down and 1. Bears at their own 47 trying to pick up the first, and they do not get it. No question about that, as Harper was nailed by Alan Page. And watch Page on this play.
Let's take a look at 88 right there in the center, left of your screen. He's right over the top there. There comes the blocking, and Page holds his ground off Piper, stays in, gets some help from Seaman, and Roland Harper was not going to get that first down. Alan Page.
4th down, less than a yard. Keep in mind that Parsons has been known to throw from punt formation. In fact, he completed a pass last week, giving him 4 consecutive completions on that play. But this time he goes for the safety of the punt. Manfred Moore at the 20 and is ridden down at the 24-yard line. So Minnesota takes over at its own 24 with the score tied at 16. And we've got 11 minutes left to play in this football game at Metropolitan Stadium in Bloomington, Minnesota. We'll be back in just a moment.
Schlitz Light. Schlitz Light beer has a third fewer calories than our other fine beer, and all the taste beer drinkers expect from Schlitz.
What did you just give me? His beer. It's the only light beer with gusto.
Oh, yeah? Schlitz Light.
Beer drinkers know it took Schlitz to bring the taste to light.
I mean, it was really a good movie.
It was good, wasn't it?
Oh, honey, look, some poor guy left his lights on.
Larry.
Is he going to be in trouble?
Larry.
Boy, am I glad it isn't me.
Larry, it is you.
It is me. Oh.
The Die Hard has extra power to start your car when most batteries won't. Starting soon in your neighborhood. Sold only at Sears.
CBS Sports Spectacular presents triple-header boxing next Saturday from Vegas. The Spinks brothers in action. Leon in one of the heavyweight bouts against Scott Ledoux. And his brother Michael goes against Gary Summerhays and Bernardo Mercado in another heavyweight battle against Greg Johnson. That couple with the world's strongest men competition. Sets it all up for you next Saturday at 4:30 Eastern Time. Tarkinen, 12 out of 24 for 138 yards. Vikings first and 10 at their 24-yard line. They sent Sammy White in motion, and they sent Foreman up the middle. And Foreman drives out to the 31-yard line. Officials whistled it dead, but Foreman claims he was still moving. Oh, come on, ref. Give me a break. He ran an extra 60 yards.
Chambers, I think, hurt his leg. He's going off the field after this play. Good block by Ron Ure. You see number 60, Wally Chambers, in there. And he comes over, gets in on the tackle. Now, he stopped. The whistle did go. Well, I'll tell you what, you got to give Foreman credit for keeping his body moving, but you can understand the officials blowing the whistle on that. He was stopped there for quite a while.
Pick up a 7, 2nd and 3. Vikings at their 32-yard line. And Foreman on his own. Looks like he's got enough for the first down at the 34-yard line. Bob Frederick, the referee, says timeout on us. And they may want to measure. Of course, typical Tarkinen strategy in this case would be to take about 7 or 8 minutes, take his leisurely time, and move the ball down to the field and score with a minute and a half to go or something. He's done it so many times before. So it is up to the Bear defense to dig in and try and stop him. Vikings get the first down. Nose of the ball just inside the Minnesota 35. McClanahan getting the call out to the 39-yard line. Pick up a 4. It'll be 2nd down 6.
Seattle has taken the lead over Tampa Bay 7-3 in the first quarter. 7-3.
Hey, Tampa Bay has not scored many points.
They haven't given up too many either.
No, they have an excellent defense. But they had not scored an offensive touchdown coming into this game. 2nd down 6. Sammy Johnson in there with McClanahan. His Foreman given a rest, and that's Johnson crossing the 40 and out to the 42-yard line. Looks about 3 shy of the first down. Billy Newsome, number 87, on the stop for the Bears.
And Chuck Foreman is coming right back in, and you have to wonder on 3rd and 3, will he come in with a suggestion from Bud Grant?
Vikings haven't done that well on their 3rd down conversions. 3rd down 3. Miller comes in at the other running back position. Robert Miller, number 35, coupled with Foreman, number 44 in the backfield. Sammy White wide to the right side. Ahmad Rashad is split to the left. Miller in motion. Tarkinen back to throw. Looking for some running room, and Newsom drags him down at the 41-yard line. So good job by the Bears defense as everybody was covered, and Tarkinen couldn't find a big enough hole to run out of.
Good play by the Bears defense. Good play. Good coverage downfield to put Tarkington on the spot. Here's a game just underway. Miami 7, the Jets nothing. That game is in the first quarter. A touchdown for Benny Malone. 5-yard run.
Neil Clabo back to punt, standing on his 25-yard line. Score tied. Schubert awaiting the punt. Good snap. Nice punt. Schubert waiting at his 25. He's got it. Trying to get to the far sideline. Torn down. Excellent coverage by McNeil, number 54, the Minnesota Vikings. The big linebacker really flashed down there in a hurry. And the Bears take over at their 25-yard line. We've got 8 minutes and 15 seconds to go, and quite a finish upcoming. Stay with us.
Energy for a stronger America.
Excuse me, Mr. Johnson.
Yeah?
Do you know you're one of America's most valuable energy sources?
I am?
That insulation you're installing isn't only going to save you a lot of money.
Yeah?
It's going to help our country save energy.
So?
So thank you.
You're welcome.
By saving energy, you're helping hold down foreign imports, while companies like Exxon develop other energy sources like coal, nuclear fuel, and solar power. Energy for a strong America.
Here they come, pouring in from California and Vermont, from Texas, Oklahoma, and Georgia, from all over the country. Billions of used aluminum cans headed for recycling. Today, about 1 out of 4 aluminum cans is recycled and used again. Tomorrow, maybe 1 out of 3. Someday, maybe every one of them.
We can't wait. We can't wait for tomorrow. Alcoa can't wait.
Head coach of the Chicago Bears, now in his 3rd year, Jack Pardee.
There's a linebacker. He intercepted 5 passes and returned them for touchdowns during his career. He could play football, played for 15 years. Has done a real job here with the Chicago Bears.
Bears 1st and 10 at their 25. For most of you, right after this ball game, we'll be joining the Washington-Dallas game. Is the second game of our doubleheader, so be sure and stay tuned. Score here is tied, and the Bears trying to break it over as they give it to Payton, and Walter carries to the 31-yard line. That's a good football game. 2 young upcoming teams. Patriots leading by 1 in the first period. Interesting statistical note here. The Vikings have not made a third down conversion since the first quarter. I'll tell you something about the way the Bears are playing defense. 2nd down 4. Bears from their 32-yard line. Try that middle once too often. And Payton is smothered at the line of scrimmage.
Both teams have gone with the philosophy of very little red dogging or blitzing in this game.
3rd down. Bears still need 3 for the first down. With the ball at their 33-yard line, clock continues to move with just over 7 minutes left to play. And of course, if it's tied, we go into the 15-minute sudden death overtime period. Payton picking up the first down and a lot of change as he moves it out to the 44-yard line. Carl Eller, number 81, on the stop.
Well, 3rd and 3, they chose the run. They went with their best weapon, and Walter Payton responded and got the runs. Good blocking. You can see Jim Marshall's wheeled out by Ted Albrecht as Payton just hits up the line, and finally Eller comes over and puts the crunch on Walter and says, that's far enough. That's far enough.
That's a first period score. Denver has come back to tie Oakland. Battle of unbeatens in the AFC. 1st and 10, Bears. Nose of the ball just inside their 45-yard line. Avellini with a nice fake. Decides to go long. Short pass intended for Bo Rather, and Nate Wright, number 43, almost got his hands on it. Looked like he kind of threw that thing off the wrong foot. We got a marker down. Back of the line of scrimmage, which is normally where they drop those holding flags.
You probably have made an accurate statement. It's going to go against the Chicago Bears as Jim Marshall talking with the officials.
Payton with that run a moment ago put him over the 100-yard mark. What, 4th time in 5 games. He's at 107 yards, 21 carries.
Illegal use of the hands on the offense, number 53, 1st down.
Dan Pfeiffer, the Bears center, guilty of the holding call. So the down reverts to 1st, the yardage to 20, and the ball moves back to the 35 of Chicago. Bo Rather wide to the left side. Scott off to the right. Avellini. Protection. Excellent. Can't find a receiver. Now lets it go, and he's got somebody wide open. Rather. And Rather is soared himself. He couldn't have hit him more perfectly at the 47-yard line, and Rather drops it.
Avellini had excellent protection. He stayed right there in the pocket and waited and finally zinged the ball. And you got to give credit. It's a straight 4-man rush by the Vikings, but the Bears hold him out. Good blocking all the way around, and Rather uses the hands. He goes up with the 2 hands rather than try and get in his chest and then smother it into his chest with a little leap. And it cost the Bears a reception.
Rather is the only Bears offensive starter with more than 2 years experience. Avellini, 10 out of 16 for 108 yards. 2nd down, 20 from his 35-yard line. Again, good protection, gets the pass away. Harper was the intended receiver, and Matt Blair, number 59, really let him have it.
Those are the kind that really hurt when the receiver has to keep his eyes on the ball to catch the ball. You see Harper going out on the upper part of your screen. Avellini gets pretty good protection again. Dennis Lick doing a nice job, but he's got to keep his eyes on the ball, can't protect himself, and Matt Blair laid the wood to him. Good aggressive tackle by Blair, who is the man who blocked that extra point.
It is 3rd and 20. As the Vikings are experts in blocking kicks. They blocked 16 kicks last year, counting punts and field goals and conversions. Had it not been for that blocked extra point, this ball game would be a lot different. Bears would have a 1-point lead. Big rush. Avellini caught back to the 22. Loss of 13 yards. The veteran Carl Eller, number 81, at the age of 35. Still shows he's got it.
Let's take a look at Eller off the top of your screen, he goes to the inside of Dennis Lick that time instead of an outside move, and he had a full head of steam, whereas Avellini was trying to come out of the pocket, and there was no chance. A great play by number 81, Carl Eller, who never gets old.
5:48 left in the game. Parsons, big rush on him.
Uh-oh.
They get it away. Parsons goes down, and a flag is down. The Bears are going to get the ball back on running into the punter. Manfred Moore dragged down at the 25-yard line, but Chicago will get it back. Steve Craig, number 84, ran into the punter.
And a great acting job to help out by Parsons. The Vikings didn't crisscross so much in front. They went right at him, trying to make the block, and they couldn't avoid the hit, and it's a good call. They did come into him, and of course they're taught and coached to try and crisscross in front, so if they miss the ball, they go to one side or the other of the punter. But that time it didn't work out, and it could have
defensive, running into the kicker, first down.
So the Bears get a light.
Running into the kicker, first down.
5:35 left to play in the game. The score is tied, and the Bears have a first down at their 28-yard line. See if they can take advantage of the break here. Avellini trying to get him cranked up. Scott at the 40, to the 45, to the 50. James Scott down to the 41-yard line of the Vikings.
What a play by James Scott and Avellini, who laid it right there, and James just took it like Walter Payton does, kept his legs going, picked up an extra 10 yards out of it, a first down. Just a quick post pattern, quick slant in, and the ball was right there.
That's a 31-yard completion from Bob Avellini to James Scott.
Let's watch James down about 10 yards, the move to the inside. The ball was right there to the inside. He grabbed it.
Back to live action, 1st and 10. Bears at the Viking 41-yard line. Payton getting a yard at the line of scrimmage. Scott now has 4 catches for a total of 70 yards.
And he had an average of 24 yards per catch coming into this game. So he's maintaining that average. He is a real threat and a great compliment to Walter Payton. As far as the running game and the passing game are concerned, the Vikings are on the spot. They're going to have to stop the Bears.
2nd down, 6. Bears at the Minnesota 37-yard line, driving for the go-ahead score. Avellini to Payton, and Payton to the 35-yard line, pickup of 2. It'll be 3rd down, 3 as Matt Blair, number 59, surrounds Payton and drags him down. 4 minutes exactly left to play in the game and counting.
What the Bears are doing, eating up an awful lot of the clock on this drive now. That ball, of course, was a running play. It's down to 3:49. They're going to try. If they can get this first down, they'll probably try and eat up as much of the clock as they can and then maybe settle for the field goal. But it's 3rd and 4. What do you do? 3rd and 3.
That's a long 3 at the 35-yard line. They have to get just inside the 32 to pick up the first down. Avellini's going to throw on 3rd down. Fires a bullet to Payton at the 30-yard line, and that should be good for the first. First down, Bears at the 30-yard line of the Minnesota Vikings. The clock is moving. 3 minutes and 10 seconds.
This may be the key play of the game as Payton comes out of the backfield, makes a nice grab under pressure, and the Bears have a first down.
That's the first pass caught by Payton. Phil Wise, number 29, who's just come into the secondary, made the tackle. Bears try to take advantage of the break they got when the Vikings were flagged for running into the punter. Here's Harper to the 28. And then thrust back by the purple charge, Jeff Seaman leading the way.
We're down to 2:39. 2:39 left in the game. The Bears, I'm sure, are going to try and keep it in the position of the field so that they can get the field goal and eat up as much of the clock as they can. They probably get one more play off before the 2-minute warning.
2nd down. It'll be 8 for the first down with the ball at the 28-yard line of Minnesota. Clock moving with 2 minutes, 15 seconds left to play in the game. And the score is tied. Avellini Pass is complete. Looked like Latta at the 24-yard line. Not enough for the first down as he's dragged out by Jeff Wright. And that runs it down to the 2-minute warning. Exactly 2 minutes left to play in the game. And the score is tied at 16-all.
With the price of most things going up, the sticker price of Pinto, the best-selling American small car, is coming down. As of October 3rd, new 78 model Pintos with more standard features will have a lower sticker price than last year's model comparably equipped. Important features are now standard, like AM radio, power front disc brakes, rear window defroster, tinted glass, and protective body side moldings. Ford Pinto, more car for the money than last year. Also, Ford has announced substantial sticker price reductions on their sporty 1978 Mustang IIs. And Fiesta, with Europe's most successful new car introduction in history, has already become a sales success in America. Then there's Ford's newest better idea, Fairmont. Fairmont is roomy, but with mileage like a small car. And even this Fairmont wagon is base sticker price lower than a four-door VW Rabbit. So the Ford dealers seem to have the edge in choice and value. Pinto at a lower sticker price. Mustang at a lower sticker price. Fiesta, a new import success. And Fairmont, a new car for a new age. At Ford, the better ideas keep coming.
Exactly 2 minutes left to play in the football game. Our telecast this afternoon, produced by Bob Rowe and directed by Jim Silman. And some of the other folks. Clarence Anderson, deep throat himself.
The man with the beautiful voice.
And the fine people at WCCO TV up here in Minneapolis who help us out. Well, let's set it up for you again. Third down. Bears need a long 3 for the first down. They're at the 24-yard line of the Minnesota Vikings with the score tied. Here's Avellini. Going to throw it on 3rd and 3. Protection is good. The pass is not intended for Latta. And the Bears field goal unit comes on, and this is going to take about a 40-yard effort by Bob Thomas, but the wind here is at his back. He will have advantage of the wind. Ball is at the 24, which means to put it down at about the 31, so make it about a 41-yard field goal try.
And I'm sure that John Hilton of the special teams said, be careful, the Vikings are famous for turning the game around and blocking the kicks. They've already blocked one. He's got to get a high trajectory as Blair is back off the line.
It's blocked. Minnesota will take over at the 25. The block came up the middle, and the Vikings did what they are so famous for. Last year, they blocked 16 kicks. Remember the Rams game last year in the playoffs?
And there's the leap up there. The ball just doesn't get up there. I think it was Matt Blair and...
Might have been Nate Allen coming across on the outside that got a piece of it.
But I really think it might have been Blair that made the block. He does such a tremendous job for him.
Remember that Ram game last year where they blocked that field goal attempt and Bryant picked it up and ran it in for a touchdown? Rams never recovered.
Oh, these Viking fans are alive now.
Ball is at the 24-yard line, and now Francis Tarkinen has a chance to show what he can do with 1 minute 49 seconds. Foreman is out to the 30, to the 35. Foreman to the 40-yard line. 16 yards and a first down. First down for the Vikings at their own 40, and Minnesota calls time.
Frank, I think I'm going to head downstairs. We'll have some post-game interviews, and I got to get down there, so I'll be there in time. I hate to leave right now.
Oh. Great finish here. Typical Bear Viking finish with the score tied at 16. 1 minute and 40 to go, and the Bears trying to hold the Vikings now, who have a first down at their own 40-yard line.
Come on, old trademark. Time for your walk. What's the hurry? I know where we're going. To where your family began. With the same Levi's blue jeans worn by this man. Hey, you've come quite a ways, little registered mark. Now that I see these guys by the park dressed in your newest edition, sums it up right there. Levi's sportswear. Trademark, I know what you'd say if you could. Levi's don't have to be blue. Just have to be good.
Back to action we go. 1st and 10 from the 40. Here's Francis Tarkinen over the middle. It's Sammy White at the 42-yard line of the Chicago Bears, and the Vikings are on the move. 1 minute and 25 seconds left to play in the game. Take a look at it again. Tarkinen, the master of the 2-minute drill, firing over the middle, and Sammy White pulls it down. 2 plays, 2 first downs. Back to live action again. Tarkinen back it up to throw, steps up into the pocket, going long for Rashad, incomplete. Good defense by Virgil Livers, number 24, the Bears, who stepped in front of him and batted it away. Ahmad Rashad, number 28, the intended receiver. Excellent protection. And Tarkinen firing a strike for Rashad, and watch Livers come up and get that hand in front of him, just timing it perfectly to knock the pass away. It'll be 2nd and 10 from the Bear 42-yard line. Alan Page, by the way, was given credit for the field goal block. Blair got the earlier extra point block. That blocked extra point certainly looms big in this football game. Time remaining, 1 minute 14. 2nd and 10. Vikings at the Bear 30, make it the 42-yard line. Foreman to the 40. And keep in mind that Freddie Cox, the Vikings field goal kicker, though he's fairly accurate inside the 30, does not have great range and does not have a wind advantage here in the final period, so the Vikings are going to have to get it pretty close. Foreman, prior to that last play, had gained 131 yards rushing in 22 carries. 3rd down, 7 for the first down. Big rush by the Bears. Tarkinen trying to escape. Still on his feet, and finally gets rid of the ball at the 32-yard line, and this time they do drop a flag. And it'll be intentional grounding, I'm sure. Not much question about that one. Wayman Bryant applying the pressure, intentional grounding against Francis Tarkinen. And that, of course, involves not only the penalty, but loss of down, and will force the Vikings to punt. And we may have an overtime. Look at it again. Tarkinen does a good job, finds everybody covered. The Bears pressure him out of it. Watch how long he stays on his feet here. They just can't seem to get him down, and finally he decides, I got to get rid of this thing somehow. Bryant's got him at this particular point.
Grounding.
Whoops.
Offense number 10, and a loss of a down. 4th down.
4th down now for Minnesota as they lose the down and the yardage. The ball is moved back to the 45 at Minnesota's end of the field. There's the time remaining, 38 seconds, and Neil Clabo will punt. And overtime is looming. Vikings, of course, have played one overtime game already. They lost their season opener to Dallas. Clabo really gets this one. It bounces at the 5. It goes on. Well, it doesn't either. It's going to be down inside the 5-yard line. Never hit the ground in the end zone, so the Vikings, just as the Bears did earlier, tipped it back on the playing field, and the Bears will get it at the 2-yard line. It's a great play by Nate Allen, number 25. Little alley-oop job there.
How you doing?
Vikings down it at the 2. 26 seconds to go, and the Bears are 98 yards away. Well, at this particular point, I would think, and Johnny Morris is not with me right now, he's making his way down to the field, that I'd be content to run out the clock and settle for overtime, because you certainly don't want to make a mistake this deep in your own territory. The Viking mascot trying to exhort the Minnesotans. 26 seconds left in regulation. Bears are going to have to be awful careful. And that's what I believe Avellini is going to do. Quarterback sneak. Jim Marshall calls time for the Vikings with 23 seconds to go. Vikings at this point would like to force the Bears to at least have a shot at the punt return, and maybe, who knows, a field goal attempt before time runs out. That's our timeout situation. Bears have all of their timeouts, and Minnesota has just one left. So I don't believe that they're going to be able to stretch that. And if Avellini indeed wants to run out the clock and get this thing into overtime, he'll have an opportunity to do so. He picked up a yard on the quarterback sneak. Bob Avellini in the shadow of his own goalpost. Literally. talking things over with the Bears offensive unit. If we do wind up tied, of course, we go to the 15-minute sudden death overtime. First team that scores first in any manner wins the football game. And if it goes the full 15 and no one scores, then it's an official tie. 2nd and 9 for the Bears at their 3-yard line. Straight handoff to Harper, and Harper gets it out to the 6 as the Vikings try to do a little ball tackling there. Minnesota calling time again. That stops the clock with 17 seconds to go. Now, unofficially at least, we show them out of timeouts. I'll have to get that confirmed for you. It'll be 3rd down and 7 for the Chicago Bears at their own 6-yard line. I'm sure Morris is on his way downstairs. It goes in overtime. He's going to have to reverse tracks and come back on up here. Jeff Seaman, who calls the defensive signals for the Minnesota Vikings, talking things over with Bud Grant. Tarkin in there too. 17 seconds left to play. Vikings led at halftime 13-6. Bears took the lead in the final period, and the margin of difference right now is a blocked extra point. After the first Bear touchdown, Bob Thomas' extra point try was blocked by Matt Blair. On the 3rd down play, Harper getting the call and stopped at the line of scrimmage. Let's see if the Vikings are indeed out of timeouts, and I think that's the case, so the clock will proceed down to 0, and we will go to sudden death overtime. This is the Bears' first sudden death overtime game ever in regulation. The Vikings have played several before, the most recent, as we mentioned, their opening game of this season, which they and the Dallas Cowboys went to overtime, and the Vikings wound up losing that game, and that's been the only blemish on their record so far this year. We'll be back in Bloomington in just a moment.
Pabst Blue Ribbon wouldn't dare challenge anyone to take on the raging Colorado in a wooden boat. But we do challenge you to discover a better tasting premium beer. Taste and compare Pabst with the beer you're now drinking. We know you'll taste the difference Blue Ribbon quality makes. Pabst, since 1844, the quality has always come through.
Cold night, Bob. Did you put in the Prestone antifreeze?
Prestone, Prestone. Who needs Prestone?
Prestone. You need Prestone.
If your antifreeze is worn out or you don't have enough, you could be in trouble. So put in a fresh fill of Prestone, too, to prevent corrosion and freeze-ups.
Prestone! We need Prestone!
Prestone. You need Prestone.
America, you've been changing.
Coming, going, changing, growing. The things that make up life.
Why is Bank AmeriCard becoming Visa? To keep up with you.
You're traveling, you're moving, you're taking more from life.
Today, you need money that's good around the corner, all across America, and in 117 countries around the world. That's why Bank AmeriCard is becoming Visa, the most widely recognized card in the world. Visa, we're keeping up with you.
Sudden death overtime in Bloomington, Minnesota. The Bears' first sudden death game ever against the Minnesota Vikings. Just a moment ago, we had the coin toss. This is just like the start of a regular game. It's the 3rd time the Vikings have been to sudden death, including once this year. And the toss of the coin was won by the Chicago Bears.
And Frank, after running down to the bottom of the stadium, I have run back up so I could be with you as the Bears won the toss. And that doesn't necessarily mean too much, because 58% of the teams that have won the toss in overtime have lost the game. So I picked that out as I was going through numerous statistics last night.
It's not bad, John. Just off the top of your head, 58%.
And I'm sure, though, that any team would like to win the toss. So it has to be an advantage for the Bears to have the ball first. So it did wind up 16-16, and a lot at stake. A 2-game swing on this one game. If the Vikings win it, they'll be 2 games ahead of the Bears. If the Bears win it, they're all tied with Minnesota for first place along with Detroit.
I just repeat the ground rules for the sudden death. You have a 3-minute intermission, of course, the toss of the coin, which you've already had, and a 15-minute sudden death period. The last 2 minutes, if they get that far, are like the end of the first half of the game. That type of rules apply, and if they get through the 15-minute period and no one scores, it goes into the books as a tie. But the first team to score is the winner by any means. The statistics, Vikings wound up 316 total yards to Chicago's 294. Pretty close. Bears ran 2 more plays in the Vikings, 66 to 64. Avellini 13 out of 21. Tarkinen 13 out of 26.
And it all goes back to a couple of block kicks. This ball game would have been the Bears had not an extra point been blocked. And then a try for a field goal in the final minute and a half, which was blocked. Great defense by the Minnesota Vikings, who have done it so many times.
Freddie Cox, who is not one of the longest kickoff men in the league. Got a bulletin from Dallas here. Billy Kilmer has been injured and is out of that Washington-Dallas game. So Joe Theismann is now playing quarterback. And as soon as this one ends, most of you will see the second game of our doubleheader, which is the Cowboy-Redskin annual grudge match. Art Best, the deep man, one of his better kickoffs. Best has it go into the end zone on him. He'll fall on it there and down it for the touchback. No sense fooling around back there.
It'll be the Bears' ball, 1st and 10 at the 20, and I don't know, in a situation with overtime, an important game like this, I would even consider having Walter Payton back on kickoff returns, wouldn't you? He's the kind of guy that could break it. You'd take a chance once or twice with him, maybe. I know they don't want him to get hurt. But
this game means so much, really, when you get right down to it. Difference between being tied for the lead or being 2 games out. A lot of pressure on this young man from Maryland, Bob Avellini. Harper and Payton are the setbacks for the Bears, and Avellini comes out throwing. Scott to the 26-yard line, pickup of 6. It'll be 2nd down and 4. Tackle made by James White, number 72. That is a second period score. Mark Mosley with 2 field goals for the Redskins, but Billy Kilmer has been injured. And most of you will see a good portion of that ball game as soon as this game ends. That's the second game of our CBS doubleheader. Scott wide to the right side, Rather set in the slot inside of him. 2nd down. And a mix-up there as Alan Page scoots through.
They can't really figure out what's going on here, but Avellini was doing the right thing to make sure he tried to keep the ball, and the Vikings kept going after it. But the center seemed to appear to snap the ball when Avellini wasn't quite ready for it. It was a mix-up on the play, whether it was caused by
the penalty goes against the Bears. Of course, that cost them 5. We'll get the call here from the referee, Bob Frederick. Or will we? We never did get an indication,
yes.
But they did walk off 5 yards against the Bears.
Well, Bob Avellini wants to go out and find out just what the situation is. They have a 3rd down and 10 right now.
That should only be 2nd if it was a penalty.
Yes.
Wasn't it? Bob Frederick didn't tell us what happened, so we can only guess. They're showing 3rd down now. I think they're indicating no penalty, just a loss for the Bears on the play. Here's Payton.
Watch out.
Look at this. Payton doing it all on his own. He looks like he's about a yard short of the 1st down. That last play was recorded as a 7-yard sack for Alan Page. There was no penalty involved.
Walter Payton on the draw. They chose to go with the run, and Walter is so elusive. He almost got away, but the Vikings continued their pursuit. You see Jeff Wright forced him back inside, and Seaman made the tackle, got him by the legs, and down he went. But that 2nd down play was the costly one.
Vikings playing return all the way here as Parsons gets a good kick away. Driving, Manfred Moore back. Fields the ball at his 18-yard line, and he is caught at the 20. So the Vikings ball 1st and 10 at their 20-yard line. Well, that play was confusing there, wasn't it? Looked for sure like there should have been a penalty on the play, but the official said, when all was said and done, no penalty, and simply a sack of the quarterback by Alan Page. The Bears lost 7 yards on it.
Well, the Vikings could have refused a penalty. They may have called the penalty, and the Vikings refused it because the play went through and they call it as a sack. I don't know. It didn't work out for the Bears anyway. It worked out for Minnesota.
1st and 10 for the Vikings. Tarkenton wants to go long. Didn't go anywhere.
Now, that is just fantastic, the way Tarkenton was caught there and still had the presence. Somebody's grabbed onto him and threw it right where a receiver was.
It'll be 2nd and 10 from the 20-yard line. Tarkenton in regulation had 13 completions in 26 tries. Had 1 pass intercepted and threw for 144 yards. Just another day at the office.
Never gets hurt? Never.
Never. Big rush. Wally Chambers in there applying pressure. Rashad at the 30, out to the 35-yard line as Virgil Liver slipped and went down. And that's the reason that Rashad was as open as he was. Liver's lost his footing.
And there wasn't much in the way of linebacker help there as Wayman Bryant, number 50, goes in. And there he is, man for man. And that's a tough situation for any defensive back. He slipped a little bit, but Rashad made the grab. And it was a key completion. But he had a strict man-for-man situation there.
Vikings 1st down at their 41-yard line. Rashad wide to the left side. Sammy White is flanked to the right. Robert Miller in motion. It is Foreman up the middle, and Foreman is out to the 45 for a pickup of 4. 2nd and 6. Mike Hartenstein, number 73, leading the defensive charge for the Chicago Bears.
And I think we have to keep in mind that there is a very strong wind behind the Vikings so that they don't have to penetrate that far for the possibility of a field goal. I'd say it's got to be a 25-mile-an-hour wind. I may be wrong, but it looks that way to me.
Officials mark the ball at the Viking 45-yard line. 2nd down, 6 needed for the 1st down. Miller again in motion. Tarkenton rolling to the right. Protection is good. Stops and fires downfield, and it is complete to Sammy White at the 38-yard line of the Chicago Bears. Gifted 2nd-year receiver from Grambling.
And Tarkenton gets outside so that he has the room. And just a nice move in the out. Ellis came back, tried to reach over and knock the ball down, but no dice. Ahmad Rashad with a good grab. Let's take it again. Let's watch it as he goes out on the rollout. No penetration by the Bears on that side so that he has time to get out there and throw the ball. Ellis was there, but so was the ball.
1st down from the Bear 37. Francis Tarkenton over the middle of Miller to the 32 to the 30-yard line. So the Vikings continue to penetrate and move ever closer. Getting in good position for a field goal drive with Fred Cox.
Well, they faked that screen or the swing pass out to Foreman, and Tarkenton carried it through and then just dunked it over the middle. 2nd and 3. Vikings are in good control right now.
Ball is at the Bear 30-yard line as Francis Tarkenton looks over the defensive alignment. It is Foreman behind Miller's block. Inside the 25 to the 23. 1st down, Minnesota. Ten minutes and 40 seconds left to play in the overtime period.
Take Foreman to the outside. Lead the way. Reeves comes through the middle. Can't get there. Foreman cuts back. Ron Yeri, the tackle, pulling. Foreman cuts up the field before a host of Bears knock him down. But it's another 1st down for the Vikings on the 22.5, easily within field goal range. So will they go conservative? Will they keep control of the ball and then kick?
Foreman has picked up 146 yards rushing at 25 carries. Easily his best day. Miller inside the 20 to about the 16-yard line. Second down. Vikings need 4 for the 1st down. The officials mark it at the 17.
This is where I tell my players, go for the ball. Go for the ball. Knock it loose. Dick Butkus used to do that so many times for the Bears. Of course, when you go for a ball, tackle the ball, you have a chance of missing the tackle. But at this stage, what do you got to lose?
Tarkenton giving again to Miller, and Miller carries to the 15-yard line. It'll set up 3rd down and 2 needed for the first down. Vikings moving with the wind at their back. And, of course, the field goal kicker has the advantage of seeing exactly what's going on. You see those flags on top of the goalpost. They're exactly for the benefit of the field goal kicker, and it's blown to the Vikings' advantage, and they're in excellent position right now. If they were stopped right now, so Vikings shaking up on the play. It looks like Miller. From this point, they would need a 32-yard field goal effort from Fred Cox. So they're in excellent shape. Timeout. We'll be back in a moment.
Highway light poles can be treacherous, especially if they stop your car dead on impact. That's why Alcoa helped develop...
How about the amazing Denver Broncos? They lead Oakland 21-7 at the half. The Broncos have intercepted 4. Chicago and Minnesota battle overtime this afternoon. Here's Avellini rallying the Bears, going to Greg Latta. 16-13, Chicago ahead. Now, Chicago had a field goal. They could have won it in the 4th quarter, but it was blocked by Blair and Allen. Now, watch Sir Francis with time running out. Give him credit for one thing. He doesn't quit, folks. Here is Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Intentional grounding. We go to overtime. Now, fake field goal. Minnesota goes for the touchdown. And they win it 22-16. And Jimmy the Greek, there's going to be some wise guys who are going to say they did it because of the number.
Forget about it, Brent. To begin with, there was a great play call. It was the first down. If the pass is incomplete, they still can go for the field goal. But Grant, don't challenge his integrity. I mean, he's a good man, honest man, and plus the fact that Minnesota was favored by more than 6.
All right, Irv, what about that World Series going on? Yankees trying to wrap it up.